Need. Hang on. Let me.
Genuinely with Glenn Tickle.
No, see, I don't like that one. We need we'll do the theme song in an hour and a half from now, but what we need is just like a little bop at the beginning. I'll
Like,
clip it out.
yeah, that like gets people like hard. Oh, I'm not hearing anything. Oh no, we're back to that again. I don't get to hear.
There we go. No, it does.
And I'm not talking about the masses.
I'll clip it out from one of the other ones that you've done.
Okay.
I'm not implying you have to do more work because
No,
God forbid we put effort into this bad boy. This is Daddio. I'm here. I'm Glenn Tickle, one of your hosts.
I'm Ricky Glore, the other host, the Tommy Smothers of the Smothers
You think you're
Brothers.
Tommy, huh?
Oh. Okay. Interesting. Well,
interesting.
how would you?
You think you're Tommy? Honestly, if you said Dickie, I would have said the same exact thing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, no, but I'm interested to hear what you're. I don't have a strong opinion. That was literally just a.
I do. I
think Tommy. I think Tommy is. I think in our dynamic, to talk about, because we had Tristan Miller last week. We'll talk about our weekend of shows a little bit more and get down into the deep of our psychoses as far as
we roll into the deep.
As we roll into the deep. But yeah, so we did not on Friday night at the Roxy, but on Saturday at Parkway and Sunday at the Emmaus. We had a little two-hander action.
I love
two microphones. I did too, but it's again. I think it's when I say audience, I'm saying 20 people at best.
We're using the term pretty generous,
pretty loosely. I think anything over 5. They were great. I mean,
shout out to McKees Rock, the Parkway Theater. We had a great time.
That was genuinely an enjoyable experience that originally was looking to be canceled, which I'm glad it did not.
Yeah.
But I think in our dynamic of that two-hander, I mentioned it Saturday and Sunday consecutively. I think we have a Smothers Brothers, Rowan and Martin Laughlin kind of variety show host vibe, which is, I just was asked the other day before my shows coming up in Chicago this weekend, which if you're listening on Friday and you're in the Chicago area, Oak Park Comedy Plex, come see me tonight, Friday, as this episode you're listening to, or tomorrow on Saturday, the 31st.
If you are watching the live stream or can travel through time tomorrow night, Orchard Park, Jersey, I'm doing a show with Richie Byrne, I think. Is that who I'm with tomorrow?
I like getting it's almost like we're doing our own ad reads within our episode.
Yeah. We're like trying to make sure we're nailing the copy.
I
think I'm with Richie Byrne tomorrow in Orchard Park, New Jersey, at a fancy restaurant. Apparently, very fancy. They do have pizza. I checked.
Oh, is that what you're gonna get? Are you gonna get some pizza?
Clearly.
Do you do you just get cheese?
Yeah, usually.
Okay.
I might throw a mushroom on there once in a while.
But I was asked why. They're like, oh, current thing you're doing with fellow dry bar comedian Glenn Tickle. Podcast and some touring called Daddios for the podcast. Like, can you tell me how that came to be? And I was like, because we thought if we named it something, more people would come.
Truly, that's all it is.
And it just turns out it's more than that. Again, that's the We'll get into the psychosis.
I think we're right. Later. I think if we because we named it something, more people will come. There's apparently other things we have to do to get people. It can't just be that.
It can't just be that, and also that also doesn't help. It actually semi-muddies the waters in some respects of it, I think.
I think maybe since we called this and the tour shows the same thing, that might have led to a little confusion. But I don't think either one is well known enough for that to really be that confusing to anyone we can't text.
No. I think that's directly. A small branch off
like
the
my
tree.
Mom might be confused.
I think that's a small branch off the tree, which is the bigger issue of it being named something, but again, us not being clear that it is not clean, because we had multiple instances. I think it goes back to, I think if we nailed down, if it's just like this is going to be clean, it's going to be comfortable comedy. I think we would do better.
I don't think it's on us to make it clear that it is not clean. I think it would be great if
People
people
didn't
stopped
assume.
assuming it would be, or if people added to the show we're talking about what a great night of clean comedy it's going to be. And again, I think I was I think I went 3 for 3 of not saying bad words. But again, like
I said shit.
You did a couple of times.
I said shit, and I talked about the doctor with the wand being elbow deep inside my wife, which,
and I
again,
think I only clocked it because we've talked about like.
Yeah. No, that was a good clock.
If I wasn't thinking, if we had not spent weeks and weeks on this show talking about how clean we are, what is clean, what's the point of clean comedy, what's the point of any comedy, why are we doing this, should we just be accountants?
Shit.
I don't think I would have even noticed, because it wasn't like, maybe the Muppet thing with your wife was like a little graphic, but it's like,
but it's not. So that is what I'm. That's what I'm conflicted with when it even comes. Again, I think you're right on the comfort side of things. I get it. Why that? I'm not trying to be a bad little boy with any of the things that I'm saying, but I'm also very purposely, after that weekend we had. I am editing the #Comedy Club Columbus show that I did, where there's a third crowd work and a third bit more darker, more taboo subject matter of child thievery and stuff. I'm going to release that as a special, and I'm throwing that material away on the special, because the weekend with you, us not marketing it 100% clean. So I think there was confusion with people thinking what it was. And if we had, maybe there would have been bigger. Like, we've never tested that.
I don't know. I think if we told people that it was going to be clean and you said shit as often as you did, then I think.
Well, no, I wouldn't have said. I would have regulated myself. I would have.
Then I would give a shit what people's expectations of the show were. But that's why I didn't want to market it as clean. I don't want them.
But I'm saying I think it could be better, and I will. So that's part of why I'm getting rid of that chunk of
right,
the
you have
act.
a couple things where you say shit a few times. Like, it's not like either of us are so dirty or bad boys of comedy that's like, oh man, if we tell people how are we going to do?
But you don't think the clean expecting audience that we had, again, a loose term. When I'm talking about, and you and I have talked about this, it's not your favorite thing. Child abductment, just the worries of that as a parent is really how I'm coming across it. It's just something I never thought about, and now it does. And I'm not saying that it's not scary, but I am also bringing it up with humorous.
Right. We talked about it on, I think, one of the first episodes of the show. You're like, oh, I had this idea, and I was like, I don't know, man, that's going to be an uphill climb.
And you're right. And
I think you landed on like a fairly safe version of it, where it's like, I don't know if it's just I've heard the joke a lot of times, but it's not like I'm not sitting there like cringing while you do it. It is.
And it's part of a chunk with the Amber Alert and that. And then again, just going to the description of being at the doctor's office when we found out we had the twins, and I describe it as Jim Hensoning. Like, nothing I say, and again, this is not me trying to push the envelope and be bad little boy. Nothing I say is technically dirty. It just might be uncomfortable for you to hear, because it is about the anatomy and a man inside of
I would say, just arguably, the vagina? That is not clean. When you have to use the phrase that? Elbow deep, I think I think maybe. But again, it is like, you could use that phrase in a PG movie. You couldn't show the scene in a PG movie. It's like, that's,
maybe I could almost see it like in a Shrek, but this is it's so.
I'm talking current PG, not 90s.
Yes. Well, not Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Before, when shit got dark. But again, using shit like that is the.
But again, that's the kind I talked about a lot. It's like, I don't think anybody's like, ooh, he said shit, I'm scared.
No,
like,
I think it's subject matter.
Unless you're there with like a 7-year-old, But God, even my kids, right? So they listen to the musical Six I've talked about on here. They love it. And I mentioned that to a friend of mine. She's like, oh, there's like some adult stuff in there. And I was like, right, but I'm sure my 12-year-old has heard the phrase threesome before. And I don't think my 6-year-old clocks what it is. When they say it in the song, she's not, she
The
doesn't
most she's
know.
thinking it's 3 people. She's
Yeah.
not like, I think it's when.
But what I thought was interesting was when my friend was like, "Oh, there's some adult stuff in there." She's only talking about the sex stuff and not the fact that half the characters are literally beheaded.
Yes.
Oh, sorry,
yes.
1/3.
Welcome
1/3 of the
to-
characters are beheaded. And I was
growing up, I saw way too many horror movies at too young of an age.
Mhm.
One of my earliest memories is seeing Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 3, when my parents thought I was asleep
too
at the
little
foot
for
of the
that.
bed.
Oh, yeah.
They,
yeah.
Well, they thought I was asleep. That's the it's one of my earliest memories. It's not one of those like where there's a picture of it, like where you're remembering the picture, and that's
Sure.
actually what the memory is. But I to connect it with Elm Street, I do have, that is my favorite horror series. In Chicago, I did a parody musical called A Nightmare on Back Street, which was a parody version of the original Elm Street film.
Get Mad TV back on the air. They need to hear
to the music of Backstreet Boys. And I was 100% influenced. There was this group at this drag club that did a show called Alien Queen, where it was Alien and aliens using the music of Queen.
Okay.
And it was fucking fantastic. And it had puppetry. So I piggybacked off that. I'm like, well, what are 2 chocolate and peanut butter things that I like to throw together? Backstreet Boys and Elm Street. I was like, okay. And made it dumb enough. And I had a love of that. We sold out every performance, had to add shows. It was this tiny 100-seater black box theater in Chicago. And a mom and her 10-year-old son and her mom, so grandma, daughter, and the daughter's 10-year-old son come to see the show. And I don't see them before. I would go up and give a little speech beforehand and just like welcome everybody and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Because I mean, when it's that small, like it's about gaining an audience and like fans and stuff, and like just putting myself out there being like, I'm Ricky Glore, writer, director, blah, blah, blah. And so when I saw them in the audience, I went to the box office and the GM of the theater was there. And I was just like, there's a 10-year-old kid in there, right? And he's like, yeah. He said, the mom said she's fine with it. And I was like, okay, as long as there was a conversation. Because I don't care. I think you know your kids. I think you know what they're able to take. I think you know what their world is. Parental guidance suggested. They're suggesting guidance. They're not suggesting you turn it off and your child can't see it. You have to gauge. You have to know.
Yeah.
So guess what? Do you think the grandmother?
Oh, do I think they had a great time and just wanted to talk to you after about how enjoyable the experience was and how much they loved that they brought their kid there? Definitely. They had no complaints at all, I bet.
So, in giving my speech, I asked the GM of the theater, I was like, so you're going to get complaints. I'm not going to get complaints. I don't fucking
This
care.
is your problem now.
Yeah. We're a sold out run at this point. Like this is making
you can eat my farts. I got 100 people in here.
This is again, yeah. I mean, for a Friday and a Saturday in fucking Wrigleyville kind of area, like, yeah. You're competing against Second City and stuff. Just right next door is Bye Bye Liver, which is sold out almost every show too. Different kind of audiences, which is great in a small black box theater. But so I'm like, do you want me to disclaimer anything in my little speech beforehand? And the GM's like, no. He's like, they're good. I'm like, okay. I'm just like, we can't say I didn't ask.
Yeah.
And I go up and give my little speech. And one thing that I add without kind of making it pointed, because they're also sitting in the front row, which is great, is because there's full on Backstreet Boy choreography. And our Freddy Krueger, who is Teddy Crooner, was extremely gay and like as played the character that way and weird, with him being in their dreams and nightmares and had a little backup dancers. So it was an experience. I really leaned into what they did with the Alien Queen and the drag stuff. But so at the end of my little spiel, I'm like, so sit back and enjoy the very violent, the very homoerotic partial nudity and boy band enthusiasm that like this show has to offer. Like, so enjoy. And so like the thing I wanted to let them know was partial nudity, because we had a scene where it was I'll Never Break Your Heart, and it was before Tina, if you know the first Elm Street, gets dragged across the ceiling and stuff.
Yeah.
Rod, her boyfriend, they're having this makeup sex, and he's a bad boy, like juvenile delinquent, and he's wearing whitey tighties. So the guy in our show, who is Bod instead of Rod, sings "I'll Never Break Your Heart" as he does a striptease, and is very well endowed in his too small of whitey tighties.
Hell yeah.
And the whole song's about like tenderness and like
Dude's hung
gentleness.
like
Yes. So much so in real life, when we said, like, okay, you know what you got to wear, and for this is the day that we start wearing the underwear, and the actor was very acceptable to that and understanding. And he's like, yep, because we want to make sure that everybody feels safe. You're going to live theater atmosphere, almost naked. And we're like, so this is the day in the whitey tighties. He's like, I'm ready. And like was very good. We double checked, had like a coordinator, consent coordinator on set, and for the theater, because it's part of the theater company. And he gets into his whitey tighties for that first time, and none of us realized that under stage lights, you probably should wear a belt, like a dancer's belt,
Yeah.
as well as the whitey tighties. But like he was
It's the
massive.
thing us thick boys got to always take into consideration, you know?
So afterwards, we were all like, during notes, we were like, so David, you will need to wear either a dancer's belt or yeah, that's it. Well, we didn't say that because we were like, how do we say this? And like, I guess maybe I think we said it one-on-one first. I don't think we did it in the general notes afterwards with the whole cast. Hopefully we didn't. Maybe I did, and that was a mistake. But yeah, first of all, congratulations. You will give women heart attacks if you do not wear at least two whitey tighties.
Yeah, you got to double bag it, you
know. But so guess what? We have an opening kill scene where they hunt down. We do a little prequel action, and we do I Want It That Way. You are my fire, my one desire. And it's the parents going to torch Teddy Crooner for being a child murderer. And so we watch a group of vigilante singing, dancing parents pour gasoline and set a man on fire. Very kabuki theater way. Very absurd. But we watched them do that and sing. And grandma, daughter, and 10-year-old son, fine with that. As soon as I'll Never Break Your Heart, and he takes off his pants to a cheering crowd, the grandmother's just like, oh, grabs her grandson's hand and storms out. And the mom's just like, I'm sorry.
Well, at least the mom knew. She's like, oh yeah, sorry. I've been dealing with this bullshit my whole life. This lady can't handle thick hogs.
That's why Grandpa's not here. Hog too thick. But like, I've never have understood that. But then again, that goes back to the question of clean comedy. Yeah. Like, it's like, what is gonna upset you? I think you and I've talked about this, maybe not on the podcast, but in person. I used to do a bit about being from Northern Kentucky and near the Creationist Museum. They have a real life Ark encounter.
Yeah.
And I would bring up Noah's Ark. And at one point I was like, oh, this might be fun. I'm going to ask the audience, maybe as a way to soft pedal into this, possibly again, taboo material. Maybe I am a bad boy of comedy.
You're a naughty little lad. That's what you are.
I would say, how many people, by a show of hands, how many people believe Noah's Ark is real? Like, that's a true story.
Yeah, I remember that bit.
Majority of people, based on the demographic, like based on where I was at, like what winery or brewery or whatever, a majority of people in the crowd would raise their hands, and I would have to really make like a Sophie's choice of just like, okay,
how mad are you guys gonna be at me
for at least the next 2 minutes? If you think that's real and you're not going to catch like any of the humor observation of this, like, I don't know what to do. So all of that, saying all of that, and then watching the Pee Wee Herman documentary.
Still haven't watched it. I
I
might.
know.
I'm saving it on my
really-
tablet. I might
I'm-
watch it on the boat.
I'm questioning myself as far as live performance goes. I'm
'Cause
having a real
I,
come to Jesus.
I don't know. It's gonna wreck me. Like, there's no way it doesn't. So it is like, when is a good time
To get
for
wrecked.
me to get absolutely plowed by Pee Wee
But do you want to
Herman?
be shipwrecked?
Well, so if anybody's listening, we're gonna split this episode up because I'm not around next week. I'm gonna be on a ship to Alaska. I thought I was doing 3 shows, found out this morning. I think I'm just doing 1.
Oh.
I think I'm doing a show the first night and then hanging out on a boat for a couple days, sailing to Alaska, and then flying home.
Do you kind of wish
So-
you were doing 3 shows?
I do a little bit,
Yeah.
only because I like performing. Like, I like,
even with the pay being the same, it's just
yeah, oh, that's right. If I didn't
Yeah.
find out I'm getting a third of the pay, I found
Yeah.
but one thing that they did kind of make clear to me with cruises is they're like, stuff changes, sometimes you got to fill in. I'm like, that's fine. I'm flexible. I got the material. Cause I was trying to get out of them when they,
the way you just said that was as if you were a court stenographer reading a transcript of what was like what really happened, like with no inflection. Because what it also sounds like is that you're just like, hey, I got the material, Karen. Like, don't worry.
no, it is.
I can do it.
So in April, I booked some cruises for later this year. And then
Yeah.
the one that I'm going on, I fly out Friday. That one came up kind of last minute. And
that's not, was that the one when you thought it was 3 different kinds of material that they were like, we have a late night
that's
show.
what I was
We
trying to
have
get from my cruise agent. Where it's like, hey, how many different shows could you tell me? And they're like, well, because they asked me, they're like, can you give us the title? I forget how they worded it. They're like, can you give us how many shows and the titles of the shows that you have? And I was like, no, I can't do that.
Interesting. Yeah.
'Cause
having
I've
them like titled as if they're like
I've literally
one-man
never
shows.
arranged, other than like for putting an album or something out. I've never arranged material like that. I'm like, I'd be happy to. You tell me how many you want. Like, how long are the sets? Because this is a cruise line I've not worked with before. So like, how long are the sets? How many of them need to be different? Like, what's clean, what's dirty? You let me know. I'll tell you. I'll group stuff together and give it a little title. That's fine. But I've not. This will be the second cruise I've performed on. It's like, they didn't ask me to do that for the first one. Again, happy to. It is not like, oh God, if they ask me for 3 sets, how am I gonna scramble? Like, that's totally.
But even
totally
besides
fine.
that, if they specifically are like, this is what we're requesting, I've thought about this. I was like, if someone straight up was just like, could you do your 30-minute dry bar set? I would go, yeah, sure. And I would have to go back and learn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is something. And I mean, I would even be interested of just being like, oh, okay, this is weird. Like, and I'm not going to overly flourish it or change anything, but like, how do I approach this now? Hopefully being a better maybe performer, or
when I
being
do
more
corporate
aware.
stuff, I usually get booked because the booking agent send the clip of the guy trying to recruit me to be a neurophysiologist. So I know easily 80% of the corporate gigs are because of, like, I perform for a lot of like the company's HR department or like the people who do recruiting because of that joke. So they're like, you got to do that bit. And it's like, yeah, of course. Like,
You also look like a company's like corporate HR person. Like, hey, come on, guys. Your pal Glenn Tickle here understands. Like, sometimes you want to crack off. Yeah, you do have like a. You said IT, like Nick Burns, company's computer guy.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
That's
I see
always
more
how I felt, because I literally was an IT guy in college. I fixed all the Macs on campus.
But you don't seem overly annoying, or like, I think you seem very articulate and genteel, almost like a therapist.
Oh, I guess that's a good point.
Like, I think you have
I'm thinking like HR. It's like, Doug, literally interacting with humans is my least favorite thing in the world. I don't know why you think, but the thing where it's like, yeah, we just need somebody to like kind of be calm and mediate a situation. Yeah, I'm great at. You're right.
And come up
Like
here
that.
and tell people, just be like, hey, you know how you're not supposed to be creepy and say weird things?
Yeah. we need somebody to have like an awkward conversation with everybody about Dave, and it's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I can do that. I thought, but those gigs are always like, you got to do that bit, man.
My favorite thing about HR, having worked in a variety of different companies of like restaurants, serving. I mean, I have worked for like telecommunications, mortgage companies, construction companies in different.
I know you
various
told me
positions.
what your day job is, and I couldn't for a million. I know I do a joke about it, how I don't know what my friends do for work, but like,
it's because I
know we've talked about
it. It's the best thing ever. Health insurance, and I don't think about it when it's not between the hours.
Yeah, I know
of
we've not
8
talked about
and
it a
5.
lot. It's not like
it's not purposely secret,
right. It's not, you're not hiding it from me, but it's also not like every time we talk, you're like, oh God.
Because I literally
Joe
have no interest,
and it's
I literally have zero interest.
In my opinion, as a guy who does not currently have a day job, that's the dream, right? If I had one, I just want one I don't need to think about. That's why, like when I was at Geekosystem, I felt like that job was constant, especially when I was put in charge. Because then like I would check how traffic is doing, like overnight, whatever, when I wasn't working. And then my favorite thing when I jumped over to Laughing Squid was like the almost total lack of responsibility, because I wasn't in charge. I was just putting up a couple posts a day. I wanted the site to do well, obviously, but I wasn't on the hook for traffic numbers, right? I didn't have to answer for stuff. It's like, oh, did you get the number of posts you're supposed to get up today? Are they pretty good? Great job, kid. And like that was wonderful.
It's weird. I bounce back and forth of being of the two minds of not sure what I prefer. I think it's probably a little bit of a balance of both. Yeah. And I think I get that with live performing, and then I also get that with film for like, so I mean the whole world of film, of the screenwriting, the producing, the Joseph Rocket Daddios. I don't know who that is.
I do. What's up, Joseph? Joseph Davis, hosts I forget the name of your podcast that I just did.
Tell us. So let's make a shout.
Drop it. I'll share it. Drop the title. I shared the link if people follow me on social media. So Joseph was a college student when I met him at Corning Community College in beautiful Corning, New York. I think right? It's the town, right? The Corning Glass company.
He dropped Rocket Daddios and then he pieced out of the
but booked me for. We've talked about Crashing, how like entertaining television show, but like to me in no way reflects my experience as a comedian. Where it's like, I liked the show. It is funny and interesting, and I liked watching it. But it's like, oh man, I bet that's what comedy's like. No, it's not. Except for the series finale, is that, or maybe how many seasons do they do? The one where he goes to NACA and showcases for college students and gets booked.
Second to last season, I think.
I couldn't remember if they did 2 or 3.
Because I think,
he like comes up with a dumb catchphrase and books a lot of schools, and then he's like
T-shirts
doing the school, but it's like a noon gig in the cafeteria, and it kind of sucks. That's exactly my Corning show, where it was like, and it was a great time. Well, I talked about it on Joseph's podcast, where they sent me the contract and it said, the show will start at 12 p.m. I was like, oh, is that a typo? Do you mean 12 a.m.? We're doing like a late show. And she's like, no, noon. It's like, oh, why? Why are we doing it?
Foot traffic.
Why are we doing it at noon? And she's like, it's a commuter school. If we do it at night, no one will be here. I was like, oh, yeah, fair point.
And you're like, why do it? You're like, I want the money, but.
Well, and this was not the first college gig that I'd done, but like when I was still fairly new at it. So like I wasn't as not that I'm demanding now, but like if I get to a school,
give me information.
There's like something that's not set up right, I'll be like, hey, let's take care of this. Whereas when I was starting out, and I mean I'm this way because I've not done a lot of cruises, I'm not very experienced. It's like, you tell me what's going on. I'll do my best job to fit into your situation. Colleges I've been doing for a while, right? So it's like I have enough information where if I did the last one I did up in Vermont, there were no stage. There were stage lights. They couldn't figure out how to turn them on. I was there early enough where it's like, hey guys, let's figure this out. Let's get the stage lights on so that the show goes better. And they're like, oh, it'll probably be fine. I was like, yeah, it probably will be, but it'll be better if there is like a visual separation of the stage and the rest of the cafeteria that we're in. So let's, I'm not saying somebody's got
focal point.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, if it involves somebody climbing up on a chair, I don't want anybody to hurt themselves. But like, if we can figure this out or get a ladder, or because we could see the lights, we could see that one of them needed to be plugged in. I was like, I'm not climbing up there, but if one of you guys did, that would be great. And we figured it out. They got the lights on, and I think it made it better because when there's no lighting of any kind, where there's no separation, show doesn't go as well because it is either so bright that everyone can see everybody and then people don't really laugh, or it's so dark that nobody can see me, and that's kind of a problem.
And if they're not all focusing at a focal point, sometimes if you can't control necessarily how dark the room is, again, it's one of those things of comedy. Like, what's the best permutation situation for the audience, for the performer? Best for the audience is that they're dark, that it's dark, and they don't feel like they're being watched.
And especially with colleges, a lot of the times you're dealing with students who are like putting the show on, where it's like, well, oh yeah, you don't do this all the time. This is like a club that you're in at school, or maybe your part-time on-campus job. You don't think about this stuff constantly. You've done this a couple of times before, probably. I'm like, I do this all the time. Like, trust me. If we get those lights on, it's a better show for everyone. And it's the thing of like, if I'm in an unfamiliar setting, or like, this will be the cruise I have coming up. It's my first show with this cruise line. So I'm looking at it as like, this is essentially an audition, right? I need to be as little of a problem as possible. I need the show to go as well as possible so that they keep asking me back because I would like to come back. If I show up on my first cruise is like, here's my list of demands, everything better be like, I'm like, it's kind of a
get wrecked,
kind of a pain in the ass.
Go watch your Pee-wee documentary and get wrecked.
But if I've done 50 cruises and I show up as like, hey, like, I've done a lot of
this will make everything better for everybody. In my
experience, this is what we should do. And I've done, I don't know how many colleges. I've been doing a couple years I did a lot, and then a couple years I did not many. So I don't know, 100, between 50 and 100, let's say.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have a pretty good idea because I've done a lot of these. So like when I tell you, hey, I think we should do this, it is not coming from like,
you're like, do you want this to go as best as it can with what you have?
It's not me being a weird diva. It is like, hey guys, in my experience, this will make the show better for everyone. I mean, there's stuff that like it just makes it better for me. Like I started putting in my rider that I want a cold Diet Coke and snacks backstage. It's like,
one less thing you have to think about.
Right. I don't want to have to find the Diet Coke on campus before the show.
I don't want to have it be a Pepsi campus.
I don't want it to be. Oh, it's always a Pepsi campus. I don't know what Pepsi did to the American college market.
I don't know who's Satan's dick had to get sucked in.
I put specifically Diet Coke, and a lot of times like, oh, we got you Pepsi Max. Like, well, that's not this. I'm never going to complain. I will never complain about it. But in my heart, I really wanted it to be a Diet Coke.
I will say a future Daddio guest, friend of mine, who his day job, I won't tell you who it is when we have him on. So it'll always be a mystery. Because his 9 to 5, his 8 to 5 is Coca-Cola. But he does other things kind of like us in the creative world.
Sick.
But another requirement.
Can you get us that sick Diet Coke sponsorship?
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to wean myself off.
Good. That's a good thing. Here's another thing I think
it was like my one joy left in life, but sure.
Beneficial to making a good show. And that's a good segue to the theme song and to get more into the psychosis of what should the Daddios do?
I will pull that off. I am, while I pull it up, again, not a sponsor. This is Spider-Man's non-alcoholic beer. Tom Holland made a non-alcoholic beer brand called Biro.
Interesting.
And I got a case of it over the weekend because I was I stopped drinking years ago, and the only time I really miss it is if I'm like cutting the grass. It's like
You want to feel like a man.
I would crush like
Refreshing.
it's the thing in Shawshank Redemption. Where
Yeah.
it's like, you've been roofing all day. You just have a nice, but it's like, but also
Wait, been
alcohol-
roofing all day. Is that in reference to the laundry scene? Is that
No,
what they
when they're
call it?
like putting tar on the roof, and then he gets the beers.
When he's like, I wish I could say he fought the good fight. I wish I could say like that.
No, not the
Wait.
worst part of Shawshank. The nicest part, where he's up on the
Oh.
everybody's drinking beers and having
the
a nice
nicest
time.
part where he like strangles him and holds him over. Clancy Brown like
Yeah,
almost drops
when
him off the
Rawhide
roof.
almost drops him
Yeah,
off the roof.
Yeah. When the Kurgan.
Ain't nothing wrong with smelling real good. A nice old different aroma to put you in the mood. When I'm thinking about which daddy-o I wanna sniff more, there's only one daddy, and his name is Ricky Glow. Oh yeah, that's right. Ricky Glow scent is a delight. Nice.
I can't believe you're weaponizing the theme song.
Essence is such a delight.
I have the power. And I will use it.
Think why don't all the comedians take a cue and a whiff?
I was gonna bring this up last week, but we had
needs to get with it. Oh yeah, that's
we had
right.
Tristan.
Ricky Glow scent is a delight. Oh yeah, that's nice. Ricky Glow's comedy and essence is such a delight. It makes you think, why don't other comedians take a cue and a whiff?
You know what we gotta do?
Yeah, what we got to do. Put out an album of all the theme songs.
I think we solved our merchandising problem.
We'll write you a theme song.
No, we get branded Ricky Glorstink.
And
And we sell it after show. So I was gonna bring this up last week, but we had Tristan.
Or we create our own cologne called Daddio.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And
No, we don't call it Ricky Glorstick.
No, that's what we call
Daddio.
it. We have two varieties: unscented for me, and
unscented perfume.
It's just a bottle of.
It smells smug
of a neutral oil.
Yeah,
and then
of just oil.
And so, like I said, I was gonna bring it up last. So I think I was gonna ask Tristan because I think I talked about it when we were driving to Minnesota, and I was like, hey, if you have like any aerosol based stink products, could you just do me a solid and not spray them in the room? And I think I used you as an example. I was like, Ricky did it in Florida, and it made me want to smother him with a pillow. And I will give you credit. So you, I believe, had Axe body spray specifically in Florida.
I did in this past trip too.
And I said, "Hey, I thought you switched brands. I thought
it was just a different. It was just a different flavor of Axe.
Oh, okay. So you just.
But
thought
you
it was
also
that
did.
specific.
But here's the
thing
thing is, you gave me shit about deodorant, like Dove, like 72 hour. Yeah, but it's
the spray is the like.
I'm sorry, I don't use sticks.
I don't use deodorant,
I like
dog.
Good for you and your fucking clean living.
No, so here's the thing. In middle school, right, when the puberty hit, right? It's like you have the one gym class where your gym teacher's like, "Hey guys."
No, we had it at our sex conversation.
No,
this
was separate. This was
we
separate
were given
from
our deodorant. Yeah,
sex conversation.
No, I'm saying our school did it all in one. They're like, here's your deodorant, and this is what a boner is.
Yeah, no, I think they talked about deodorant in the sex one in 5th grade, but I think it was like 6th grade. Gym teachers like, guys, you absolutely must start wearing deodorant. You smell
you little fucking monsters,
so bad. And so when I put it on the first time, I got a rash, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna put this on anymore.
My body's rejecting it.
And then my mom's like, well, we'll just get you a different kind. And then like The other kind gave me a rash. I was like, I'll just stink, I guess. And that's what I've been rocking with. I tried cologne in high school because it felt like when you're going to a dance or whatever, like you're supposed to.
Yeah, put on your dad's Brute.
The smell of it. I still have the bottle of, I think it's like Ralph Lauren Polo cologne that I bought in high school.
Like a crystal blue bottle.
Because it's like pretty small. I think it's probably still in my top drawer. But it smelled not even too bad. It just smells too strong, which is the issue with the aerosol deodorant, where it's not like the scent is not the problem. It's the amount of scent.
Yeah.
Not enough or quickly enough. It ruins that hotel room for hours.
Oh my God.
And
I took a loud shit. And Glenn said, I will prefer that.
Yeah.
Over what you have
goes away
sprayed.
faster.
Now,
Yeah.
To be clear, I'm not doing this in like the main air, like, hey, smell me, like, and now you have to deal with all of this. Or
I
like
mean,
you were on your way out and I was in my
America's
corner.
Best Inn. I don't think what corner of that hotel room you did it in was going to make that big of a difference.
Oh, America's Best. So wait, what was your favorite of? Oh, that's right. You only had 2, 3. So the third one where I was at the Fairfield Inn after Emmaus.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, that was very nice.
I think my friend Chip works there. I kept when you told me what one it was, like I think that's the one that Chip works at.
Yeah.
Did a nice redhead man check you in?
Oof.
Or do you not look at the help?
Lady. It was a lady. It was a lady that checked me in. But so between America's Best and the Inn at Pittsburgh, at Pennsylvania,
the Inn at Pittsburgh, I believe, was the youth hostel we stayed at.
It was. I felt fine and I felt safe.
Yeah,
but it had
it was more weird
vibe
than
and layout.
It was more weird than it was bad or scary.
Yes,
but
where America's Best I thought was a little dicier.
Oh, see, I would go the other way.
I thought America's Best, the room was nice. Remember, because like it was a surprise how
that's what
nice
I mean. I think because my expectations
you also didn't go
were lower going to the America's Best, and my expectations were higher going to the Inn at Pittsburgh.
The parking was great.
They were honestly probably roughly the same, except for the parking.
Like, you can't park in front of.
I don't think I realized it till we were leaving, but that parking lot was much bigger. But that guy that was like leaving when we were going to get coffee blocked. Yeah. There's like a little road to go up, and there's way more parking lot, but he parked in front of it.
What a dick!
Like a dick. Enjoy your convertible Mustang.
So besides my smell, and we'll go into the other things of what didn't work.
It's not your
about
smell.
The weekend.
I cannot. This was the point I was trying to make when we were doing the two-hander at Emmaus.
I was connecting back to the two-hander. Yeah.
I don't think you smell bad. I don't think you. It's not like
I know. I smell very
Ricky
good.
Stinks so much. It is when you spray any sort of aerosol scent-based product. And not just you, anyone in the world.
I'm making
I was at my kid's volleyball game last night, and a girl on the team just had too much stuff on, and she kept walking by. I had to move back several rows in the bleachers. It's too stinky. I got kicked out of gym class once.
she's super then like.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna call her out on stage the way I will you, my adult friend. I don't know. I didn't say anything to her. I wasn't like, hey, 12-year-old girl, here's
that's a weird way to approach a 12-year-old girl.
A 42-year-old man giving you his opinion on how you smell. Like that would be wildly inappropriate. I was like, oh, the problem is I don't like the smell. I need to move further away from the smell. But when you're sharing a hotel room with the smell.
When you're sharing a hotel room with the smell. Oh my gosh.
In high school, in gym class, I got kicked out once because the girl who sat in front of me kept like putting way too much like body spray on before gym class.
Like vanilla spray?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, hey, do you mind not? Because like when we do the lineup at the beginning, I have to be pretty close to you, and it smells so much. And again, it wasn't like, hey, you stink, idiot. It's just like, that's a really strong smell. And it's like, we have gym class first thing in the morning, and it's like genuinely pretty. And this is again why I cannot believe it took till my 40s for people
Autism.
autism.
Autism. Yeah.
But it's like, oh, like the amount that this smells is like genuinely a problem. And then she's like mad at me. I was like, oh,
Gosh,
I maybe
you got to name a special genuinely Glenn Tickle. Genuinely, Glenn Tickle.
I suppose I could have worded this more nicely, but I am also 15 or whatever. But I was just like, no, it's not like, I'm not saying you, it's the same. That's why I think why I got so upset when you brought it up on stage. I was like, I'm not saying
you were
smell.
upset.
I was having flashbacks to freshman year gym class. It was like, I'm not saying you smell. And my gym teacher was like, why are you being mean to that girl? I was like, I'm not. Her body spray or whatever just smells so strongly. It's giving me a headache. Can I move spots or whatever? And the teacher just got really frustrated and sent me to the principal for like causing a problem. And she's like, why'd you come? I was like, because a girl smells bad. I don't know why I'm here. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah. You can't tell girls that they smell bad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying bad. She's got a weird odor. She does have a weird odor. It's too much.
It's like a volume of smell issue rather than a quality of smell.
That
too
is
much smell.
So again, this goes with our stage personas. I don't think we're Martin and Lewis. I think it's more not even Bing Crosby or Bob Hope. I say the Smothers Brothers because there was always kind of, one's a little bit more aloof and one's a little bit more the straight man, but I don't know. I don't know that it has to be that, but it feels that way a little bit.
Not like we were best friends.
No.
Having met the Smothers Brothers and gotten to open for them, because again, I did it at the Great American Comedy Festival, which is happening the same weekend that we are going back on tour next month. So don't go to it. Come watch Daddio. Don't go to Norfolk, Nebraska's beautiful Great American Comedy Festival, produced by one of my best friends in the world and a lot of other nice people I met when I was there. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful time, but don't go to it this year. Don't go see the guy who does Trump on SNL and Yakov Smirnoff from The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. Don't go to those shows. Instead, or you can go Saturday. Go to the Saturday one because we're not doing a Daddio.
Well, yeah, but you were doing a show. They should go see you.
No, I'm doing a private campground.
Oh,
show.
Private. Okay.
I can't. Don't. You sound suddenly really bad. Did you unplug
really?
the mic? Yeah.
No.
It sounds like it just sounds like you're now using like your computer mic and not.
Let me see.
Now you sound fine. I don't know.
Okay. You sure?
It might have just been a connection thing. Yeah. But no, the Great American Comedy Fest is a great time. It's in Johnny Carson's hometown. They do shows in the beautiful theater at Norfolk High School that when I found out I was performing in a high school, I was like, what? I thought, because unlike a lot of comedy festivals, they pay people, and honestly pretty well. So when I got out to Nebraska and they're like, oh yeah, you're going to do shows at the high school. I was like, what? Do you guys not have like it? And like, no, you'll see. And it's Johnny Carson.
No, you'll see. Which is a great like.
Johnny Carson left them a ton of money, and it is like a beautiful. I think it's 1,000-seat theater.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. But when I went there to do that, nope, lost it. Why? I don't remember why I brought it up in the first place.
Oh, I don't know.
What were we talking
about just doing a show at a high school, our stage persona, being not like super close friends, but
I did a show with the Smothers Brothers there.
Yes.
And I was booked originally on the Smothers Brothers show, and then I get an email from the festival like, "Hey, we switched up the lineups a little bit. You're going to be on the Friday night show with David Koechner." And
yes.
Look, David Koechner's great. I was not disappointed that I was going to be on a show with David Koechner. I was disappointed that I wasn't on the Smothers Brothers show anymore. So I wrote back. I was like, hey, that's, put me wherever you guys want. It's your festival. I'm happy to be there.
If I could.
But if the decision was basically like, oh, we need to move someone from the Smothers Brothers show to the David Koechner show, none of these young comics are going to care about doing a show with the Smothers Brothers. I actually care quite a bit about getting a chance to do a show with the Smothers Brothers. So their solution was like, you can do both. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, great. Like, more stage time for Glenn?
Yeah. Well, but then they said, they're like, well, we can't pay you anymore. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I'm getting
already,
paid at all. Yeah.
I'm already gonna be in Nebraska. It's like, yeah, I'm staying. I was staying with one of my best friends, Pat Jansen, who works on the festival, and it's like, yeah, I'm hanging out doing comedy for a week with one of my best friends. I'll do as many shows as you want, guys. And then I won't call them out, but some of the other comics, when they found out that I was doing both, were like, "Oh, you're getting paid?" I was like, "No, why?"
Because comedy is weird, and
If I had to
comedians can be
say-
territorial.
if
But
I
what were
had
you
to
gonna say about the
You
us?
sound
Like
terrible again now.
I do.
Yeah.
Us. I'm
I don't know
so
if it's the
sorry.
connection or like you sound like really blown out
How about now? Do I sound better?
a little bit. I mean,
Do
part
I-
of it is you're like fairly
Okay.
loud.
Okay.
Maybe if I
How
turn
about
it
now?
down in the mix.
Maybe.
little bit.
I don't know. I can sit back farther away. I can turn my mic a little bit.
But it sounds like a different mic. And it might be the connection. I mean, the folks at home, after everything gets uploaded to Riverside, it might not be an actual issue. But
Right. Let me see. Let me see if I can.
But if
I don't want to sound
if I'm doing
awful.
a festival, right? If I agree to spend a weekend in Norfolk, Nebraska to do this festival, right? I'm not staying an extra day. I'm not changing my travel plans. I'm just doing one more show. Yeah, this one's on me. But I was so excited because I am like an old comedy dork. Like I love stuff like the Smothers Brothers because I spoke at Career Day at my kid's school about being a comedian. I talked to both first grade classes, both fifth grade and both sixth grade. My kids are in first and sixth. They had me talk to fifth grade as well. And I was talking about how I got into comedy. And I was talking about I've probably talked about it on here, the episode of The Muppet Show with Steve Martin, and how it was my grandfather had that on tape, and I would always like to watch that when I was over there. He had like a bunch of Red Skelton VHSs, Laurel and Hart, like all of that, like old comedy stuff. He had this huge VHS collection of old comedy. So I always wanted to watch the Muppet one, but we would watch other stuff. So it's like, yeah, very genuinely excited to meet the Smothers Brothers. And Tommy was sort of the driving force of that duo, right?
Mhm.
Like they had some success, and then Dickie was like, well, what if I just fuck off and race cars and do that instead? And then Tommy's like, well, it'd actually be great since we're a group called the Smothers Brothers if it wasn't just me. So could you keep showing up? That would be great.
Could you just be a straight man?
Yeah. So I don't know, when you said that, like I said, I genuinely meant it when you're like, oh, if you said you were Dickie, I'd be like, oh, you think you're Dickie? It wouldn't have mattered. It would have been.
Oh, you
either
think
way.
you're Dickie?
But
like Bane and Batman, like, oh, I see you think you're Dickie.
Yeah, but it is. It's nice. It's nice doing comedy.
Yeah, Mike Flincham said, "Turn the game down."
See, it sounded fine before, or I assume he's talking to you since I brought it up.
Said your audio is super scuffed.
But he doesn't say who's on. I'm always worried mine because I can hear it, but I can't tell how good it sounds because I'm talking until I go back and listen to the episode.
Yours sounds good. I cannot hear my own voice, so I don't know how I sound. I apologize.
You
Not as
sounded
bad.
fine for most of this,
Okay.
and then it took a real turn.
Was it when I coughed?
Yeah.
Maybe. I've got a cough. I'm sorry. I've got to take some
My
antibiotics.
allergies are rough this week. I saw my doctor not allergy doctor, my rheumatologist this morning, and she's like, "Oh, how you been feeling?" I was like, "I'm really sore because I put the pool up for the kids this weekend, and then also my allergies are terrible." And she's been hearing a lot. Yeah, he says it's you. God, see, you're the problem. You're the problem.
Says it's you. Ricky's peeking. Peeking. Oh, we're peeking again. Little peeky
See,
blinders.
People know I used the phrase peaking last week when I asked if my mic was peaking, and you and Randy, you and Tristan were like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Does the mic sound
no?
blown
I
out?"
knew
Like,
it was.
We've
it was
never used that word before.
No. That was a bit, Glenn. You were
gaslighting
bitted.
me.
You were bitted. I mean, that was. Is it again? I didn't understand that.
I keep
it was
meaning to go
as
back
dry.
to the screenshot where you guys were both flipping me off because that was
We were just like
genuinely very funny. Oh, two of my best friends are finally gonna get to like meet and talk, and then they're like, "Yeah, Glenn sucks. He complains that we smell."
Oh, I would imagine Tristan is. This is
you
gonna be a
would
weird
not-
phrase. A good
You
smelling
would not
boy.
Believe how good Tristan Miller smells.
Yeah, but he probably uses like essential oils or something,
Probably.
like
He's
something.
Tristan's probably soaking in the finest lotions as we speak.
The finest lavenders and liniments.
I started doing it as a bit, I think in college, where anytime I had to hug people, I would go, you smell great. And because I thought it would be very funny.
Yeah.
And people just seemed to genuinely like it. Like they didn't think it was as hilarious.
Oh,
as
thank
I
you.
did.
They're like, oh, thanks.
Oh, really? Thanks. It's like, yeah.
You would
I
not
mean,
say that of me. You would be
if
like,
you really
Jesus.
stunk, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it because then I feel like I'm making fun of you. That's not.
And then it's like, oh wait, Glenn's thing is he hugs people and then he says you smell really nice, and he didn't say that to me. He must hate me. I must smell like a trash monster.
You don't. The stuff that you spray makes the room smell bad.
Wait, what do you think our stage persona? Go back to that. What do you think based off the 2 times we did it?
You used Martin and Lewis as an example.
I don't think we're that though. I don't think we're abusive
because I think it's too mean. But if we were that, I think I'm Martin and you're Lewis.
Oh yeah, yeah. The dumb. Yeah, someone's got to be the dumb.
I think more on here than the 2 times that we did it on stage.
Oh, I'm more Lewis here.
No, I think I'm more focusing on me being Martin because I'm being kind of a dick to you a lot.
Oh, okay.
And that was so much there, but also like you're objectively goofier than me. Like,
yeah, I
don't think anybody would argue that.
Again, casting, just like I would say, you have an air of smugness that I think I also would have with someone else. That yes,
big of a dick. Yeah,
that. I mean,
carries over.
Yeah, I mean the smugness just comes from the girthiness of the hog.
Yeah.
I would be the smug one in different situations, but with you, I think I can lean into your superiority, which again doesn't mean like it's just an air that you have goes with the smugness, where then I can probably be goofier and play under that radar of expectations, like leaning into the popcorn, like coming out. Again, genuinely,
love the popcorn bit.
Sad. I think that is my thing now. If I'm able to work it for everything we do, if we're doing 2-handers, is just eating popcorn.
He rolled up with. I think you did it both, right? You got popcorn at Parkway. Did
Yes.
you bring it up on stage?
Yes. So
Parkway's eating it.
Parkway's where it began, and it was just because I genuinely wanted some movie theater popcorn, and we're at a movie
theater popcorn.
They have movie theater popcorn there, and so I just had it, and I think. I don't know if you addressed it, I can't remember, or not then, but then I did it again at the Emmaus, and you were just like, again, with the popcorn. Yeah. I'm just like, yeah. But again, even that is more, I don't know, like childlike or taking the piss out of, but again, I wish that could be a show. I wish you and I could tour and make money and just do what we do here.
Well,
and do that, but I don't think anybody wants. I don't think there's any value of that.
I think what I would like the show to be when we go like not this. This is I like what this is already.
Yeah.
When I was talking to Tristan, basically when I bring people on, I was like, hey, I don't pay attention to how many people listen to this thing because I don't want to have to worry about it. That is not the goal. The goal is. To just do it because we like doing it. And I feel like if I get too focused on like we got to get people to listen, like what do we like I don't want to.
Then we're gonna get sad.
If you like this, great. If you don't, there's plenty of other podcasts. I don't know what to tell you. This is an excuse to talk to my friend every week. But when we do the live show, I think if we did it more Smothers Brothers styles, where we are hosting an evening of comedy.
Yes.
And I think part of
is it then weird though than when we introduce ourselves if it's just the two of us?
I think
too many different art forms in one thing. Like, oh, your persona with Glenn.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I would want to keep it like I don't mean variety show.
Yeah.
I just mean we get, and it becomes more problematic when you're just involving more people, obviously. If we could, like, if we could get more folks where we weren't, I mean, if people were coming out more, like if we're filling theaters and we felt like we could kind of get away with doing whatever we wanted. But I think I like the thing where we come out together, and I feel like if we did that, so we had my friend Kieran opened
Did
at
great.
the Emmaus and did great. I still gotta send him that video.
His commitment to an act out and a pretty lengthy one was phenomenal. And you said you helped him with that joke.
So Kieran, I think I talked about before. He's a high school student who I've been helping because he took a comedy class, not with me. He wanted to take mine, but Arts Quest was like, "You're too young, no." And I was like, "Well, let me make that call, Arts Quest."
I came rolling up to the Emmaus, and him and his parents are taking his picture underneath the marquee while I was taking a picture of the marquee. And I was like, oh man, that's awesome. That like, he's just like, I need a picture under this marquee with Ricky Glore and Glenn Tickle's name. Like, cause his name wasn't up there.
We could Photoshop his name on there.
We should. And give it to him.
Replace the fly.
Yeah.
Was the other thing on the marquee.
Although I was constantly worried when it was just him and me in the room that I was making him feel awkward because I wasn't engaging enough or engaging too much. And I was just like, I don't want to like get in his, because I didn't want to get in his head before doing the 30-person show.
I don't know. I don't know if Kieran would come on, but you're always welcome, bud.
Oh yeah.
And he seemed genuinely nervous in a way I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to respect whatever bubble he wanted to have, but I assumed that if he needed to because I always worry like when it's an opener of just like, hey man, you don't have to sit in the green room or wherever we're at if that's giving you anxiety.
Yeah, like you do. This is your time as well. You're welcome to that. You're on the show. You're more than welcome to be in the green room. There is Mike saying I was going to say the same thing. Your mic sounds like made out of wax paper and a battery. It sounds so. I don't know what happened.
This is okay.
Here's what we're gonna do. So we do, like I said, we got to split this up.
Hold on. How about now? Does it sound better?
Yeah.
Was that the?
Yeah.
Oh,
whatever you just did, that solved the problem.
Okay.
Did the other mic get unplugged?
Actually, let's do a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Now that we fixed Ricky's mic,
problem.
This is the end of this week's episode. If you're watching the live stream, knock it off. You got to come back in a week and watch the second half of this because I'm going to be on a boat to Alaska. So there will be the second half of this episode goes up next week, but there will be no live stream because I don't think boat internet will allow me to do that. But maybe we'll see. Also, I'll be several time zones away, and we already do this too early. I'm going to wake Ricky up at 4 a.m. and make him talk to me on the internet while I'm
happily on
the boat. So we will leave it here for this week. Mike, you can.
Will Ricky's mic get better? Will Glenn be on a boat to Alaska?
It did the thing now where I don't know if it played.
Not on my end.
Oh, it's because I muted the other one. Here we go.
Untrackable. Much
it's
love.
The Daddios Show.
Yeah.
Who's untrackable? Chilling and surfing. What? Who's this? Boat internet is an amusing term. Oh, boat internet. That's Mike.
Oh, all right.
Welcome.
Here we go. Oh boy, it's Daddio. A whole week after the last time we did this, and definitely not mere seconds ago.
No.
This is
I'm gonna have to improvise a theme song this week.
Ooh, that's right.
I'm gonna have to.
We could bring.
You're
up
gonna have
classic.
to drop you could drop a funky beat
because I've got them all. They're all still in Riverside.
Ooh, you could spin the wheel of themes and decide which one you want to revisit, and that could be the subject for this episode. Maybe
this is a continuation of last week where Ricky's microphone broke, and then we fixed it. And now he
microphone fixed.
Now he sounds
Same
good.
Daddio time, same Daddio channel.
But this is a week in the past if you're listening to the podcast on the day it released, because I am currently on a boat. Am I flying home?
This is an in memoriam episode.
Ooh, that would be wild, because I'm going to schedule this before I leave.
Yeah,
that could happen.
The boat hit a giant iceberg, and Glenn's body was not found. This may be a Captain America situation where a comedian from 2025
Captain America
thawed out 100 years later, where comedy has completely changed.
Remember when you killed David Lynch?
Futurama.
Stop saying bad stuff is going to happen on the podcast.
You didn't die. You're in the future.
Well, I didn't now, but I'm going to schedule. So genuinely, worst case scenario, something happens to me on this trip.
Genuinely, earnestly.
You can't stop this episode from coming out, right?
No,
you don't have.
Nobody can.
You don't have the Riverside login. You don't know the Spotify creators account. It's going to be so far down on the list of stuff my family would have to be taking care of this week.
Except for they're going to get a notification.
This episode
Google
still
when
comes
this episode
out.
drops. Yeah.
So,
be
hey,
like, oh
everyone, I love you. I've had a great 42-year run, no complaints.
Wait, how old are you when you die on the boat?
42.
Well, you're not dead. You're just gone, not forgotten.
No,
because you're going to be thawed out. Futurama style, 100 years from now.
What do you think I would do in 2125?
I think you would have to learn and adapt to what the comedy.
Would I have to be the Captain America of 2125? Because I don't think I'm cut out for that. Although he's not Captain America because he got frozen, right? He was Captain America.
He was Captain
first,
America.
so
yeah.
I guess I would just get to keep. Oh man, no one's gonna get my references, right?
No,
no one's gonna. Maybe a couple people, like Jaws, probably lives on. Star
There is
Wars.
actually a Mount Rushmore comedy now in 2125, and Shane Gillis is 3 of the heads.
Yuck.
And Joe Rogan is the other head.
I mean, the movie I made in college, it's about a depressed writer who wants to kill himself so that it helps his career, but he can't. He has writer's block on his suicide note. And he makes the point. He's like people love dead writers because they're dead. Like, it's just the way, like, of any
There's a
art.
mystery. They can't explain. It's like, well, people love dead podcasters because no longer will they have their opinions where they're rambling because they're just having to create time.
Mitch Hedberg, incredible comedian. Do we revere him as much if he's still dropping albums in 2025? You think?
I don't think so.
I think everyone would be like, yeah, still really funny. I don't think anybody would have a bad thing to say about him, but that's part of the mystique, you know? Or Kaufman, all of it is like, yeah. So anyway, now that I'm dead,
we got untrackable. Sorry, we got untrackable. There's a conversation. There's an actual Discord going on in the Riverside chat room between, I believe, Mike Flincham
updating live on me
and Untrackable. Yeah, I'm having to update it. I'm having to do.
Yeah, I got to scroll down manually. That sucks.
Yeah,
Riverside fix that. Untrackable, welcome to the show.
Yeah,
you're in your garage. I'm currently in my shed, which we did not talk about last week. This was the shed that I did thousands of virtual shows from during the pandemic. And then it got full of other stuff, and my wife and I cleaned it out over the weekend. I'm trying to get my little studio, or maybe not full on sound booth, because I'm not going to be out here that much. But my goal for the summer is I got to get power in this baby. I got to get maybe like a little portable AC thing so I can actually use the shed when it's not just happens to be perfect temperature out there.
So your nuts don't get sweaty.
Yeah. Mike thinks yes on the Mitch question that we'd still revere Mitch Hedberg. I think we would. I mean, no question, one of the greatest to do it. But I think part of the mystique is that he died, which, you know.
And I think comics are even more, I think, than filmmakers are discussed in their eras. And I mean,
George Carlin, right? People love George Carlin. Had a long career. People tend to love a pretty specific era of George Carlin.
Yes.
If we're being honest. I put up
2.5 eras.
I put up on Threads a couple weeks ago. I was like, hey, if you think there will never be a comedian funnier than George Carlin, I feel bad for you. Like, that sucks for you. Like, how depressing to think that this art form that you claim to love peaked 30 years ago.
Well, okay,
Or more, because, if we're talking peak Carlin, that's 70s, 80s Carlin.
But yeah, before Rick Moranis did him on SCTV, and he was just like, oh, when Rick Moranis is doing a parody of me about how soft I've become, I need to fucking check myself
And he's
figure
great.
out.
And the point, I was just using him as an example.
Yeah.
Because I've heard him cited. People are like, there's never going to be anybody better than Carlin or Pryor or Hedberg or whoever. The point isn't about the specific person. The point is, if you think whatever the art form is, comedy is the one we talk about on here because that's what we do. If you think it's peaked and it's never going to get better, why watch it anymore? Right?
Well,
like,
so that's what
I love Buckaroo Banzai. It's my favorite movie. I don't think it's the best movie. If I genuinely thought, man, this is the greatest achievement in cinematic art that's ever happened, there will never be anything that comes close to beating this, I would stop watching movies. I would just watch that one.
Sure. That's this came up in a question I was asked recently, which was about social media and the influence or the connection with live entertainment and comedy. Kind of a few different questions within there, or ideas, and I have my 2 cents dumb opinions, which that's what this show is, top to bottom. But I think TikTok is not a bad thing, and you could be like, well, it's lazy and you don't need to have patience or whatever, but I'm like, man, the people who are experimenting with it and using it and figuring out different new interesting ways to use it and then incorporate that vibe in longer things, longer pieces, bigger things, with music, with visuals, with
Jane
editing.
Wickline, one of the first people I followed on TikTok when I started using it. She just showed up randomly on the FYP one day, and I think I've mentioned it before. I'm like, you can go back on her account probably and find dozens of comments from me and be like, you are the funniest person alive in the world.
Be
right
my
now.
wife.
This is so funny. And it's like, again, I don't think any of the comments are creepy, but maybe the sheer volume of ones where it's like, this is incredible, just truly great work. And then she got SNL, and for a second I was like, oh, brilliant. And it's like, are they gonna use her right? Is she gonna like be able to do what she is so good at on SNL? And I think a lot of the clips, I woefully behind on SNL. I barely watch anymore. If people post a clip, I'll watch that clip. Particularly if you post a Jane Wickline clip, I'm watching that clip. But I remember like the first thing she got on update was like I'm the plus one of a plus one who left at the party, and people online were like, what is this song? This is what, I don't understand this. This isn't funny. I was like, you're wrong. This is the funniest thing that's been on SNL in probably 20 years. And that is such a great example. And she mostly wasn't doing songs on TikTok. Maybe a couple. It is a lot of like sketches where she's playing both or all three parts or whatever of just talking to herself in different weird scenarios. But the persona of it all, it was just like weird, uncomfortable person, a little bit like Tim Robinson on I Think You Should Leave, where it's just like, oh, this guy is this guy in every sketch. And her TikTok stuff was basically the same way, where it's like, oh, you're playing a different character, but like you are still fundamentally the same person. And it is just seeing how does this kind of clown react in the setup of this sketch, which when it's done really well, I love it. Like Tim Robinson does great. Jane Wickline does great.
It's a dog whistle kind of thing that I think the why the people push back on it, because there is something different. I mean, it is literally I think we all do become it in some way. We become the old man, just like shouting, just like, no, what is this is different? Like as soon as something's different.
Yeah.
And it's not just an age thing. I think it's based on different things and how we approach it. So the other thing was AI. Like I'm not against AI. Like sure, you can still find lazy. It's the same. This question came out of the interviewer was asking me about cursing on stage, and I brought up, Daddios.
How much you love it.
And
like, he's like, I'm a naughty bad boy.
I say shit all the
I say
time.
poo poo pee pee.
I say pee pee man. I say Dave Pierce.
Dave Pierce.
And I like that that Tristan's Dave Piss impression is a little bit more Buffalo Bill. He's like Dave Piss. So I'm like, oh, what does Dave Piss really sound like?
We simply have to have Brian on the podcast.
Yeah, because I have to hear what it really is and see which one of you is closer. Because I know you profess to not be good at impressions, and Tristan.
I think mine's pretty
kind of
good. I also don't. I don't think Tristan's ever seen the actual thing.
Oh, so he's doing his own based on vibe. This is like his own like telephone line. Like, oh, this is how
I've had the same conversation with them about it that I've had with you. Of just
That's
like,
awesome.
This is a thing I think is really funny, and I've done like
Dave Pierce. I just hear it as like shock jock, like audio cue thing, like Dave Pierce. That's how I hear it. But anyway,
it's great. Brian is great.
Open mic.
Ham is great. His wife, not the meat that I don't enjoy.
Interviewer was just like at this open mic I was at. It was like 10 guys before me, and they all overly used the F word. And then by the time I get up there, I was clean. I felt the vibe change in the room. The audience was more engaged, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, yeah. But to me, again, that's not about the F word. It's just laziness. It's like, I'm offended because you should know some more words. Like,
that's how I feel about
racist over again.
Jokes more often than not. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't love that it's racist, but like I've heard that joke before. Like, it's if you're playing off of a stereotype that of anything, it is lazy. And it's like, yeah, just do better comedy. It's and
or try something different where so like even if it's not working, at least it's just not lazy.
Yeah.
And so I think AI goes to this, TikTok goes to this. Yes, you can make, and it's fine, post just banal stuff on TikTok and just whatever, like your thoughts, your open live journal kind of
thing. Did you rhyme banal with anal just now?
Yes. Banal. But I'm
going to start doing this suggestion from Untrackable. They're going to start putting their wife's rabbit up to the phone when telemarketers call. I got a pet rabbit. I can do that. She doesn't talk.
Do that. But what if the rabbit does start talking?
That'd be
great. And then you have your own like Air Bud kind of movie where its superpower is that it talks to telemarketers.
That rabbit has to hear me do my set more than anybody. Because when I'm home alone and I'm just like, so I thought I mentioned last week the cruise that I'm on while you're listening to this, probably if you're listening on the release. I thought I was doing 3 different shows, so I was like working out what joke goes in what set and all that. And when I do that, I say stuff out loud to myself, and I'm just like doing my own jokes. I do laps around my dining room table, and the rabbit is in the kitchen next to that, and she's like, I've heard this so much.
What if you come back home from Alaska and the rabbit has shot itself and left a suicide letter? It was just like, I'm tired. I'm tired of listening to Glenn's.
I'm dead, and now you're killing my beloved pet rabbit Snowball.
I didn't kill. You did with your comedy.
You killed David Lynch. You've doomed me to an icy grave, and now you're taking up my rabbit.
Planes. I took down planes.
Yeah, things I have to go on to get onto the cruise.
Planes, trains.
I don't want to go on the plane.
Yeah. I ain't getting on no plane. Is that because you've been getting more steeped into Mr. T?
Full on Mr. T at this point.
B.A. Baracus.
I don't want to do it. They're long flights. I got to fly I'm flying out of JFK. I'm way closer to Newark, but Newark Airport doesn't work anymore, apparently. So I was like, hey, if we think this is still going to be a problem, you can send me out of JFK or Philly or something. They're a little bit further, but doable. So they took me up on it. They're flying me out of JFK. I was to go from there to Vancouver, sail to Alaska, then fly from Alaska to Seattle, which I'm excited about because I've never been to Washington or Seattle. A fan just reached out to ask if I was ever when I'm coming to Seattle. I was like, I don't have anything booked. And then like the next day I found out, I was like, oh, I'll be there for like a layover at the airport. It doesn't really count. It's not even a long enough layover.
I'm going to be doing a tight 5 next to the Starbucks that no one asked for.
It's not even close enough. So I have a couple friends in Seattle, but it's not like a long enough layover to be like, oh, if you guys want to like meet me at the airport, like we can get
Now, if you
coffee or
positioned
something.
yourself in the terminal and you did a tight five and you had like a speak and spell with you, if
Mhm.
you did it under the Seattle's Best sign, then you could make that like a new hot comedy club that you could probably start booking remotely as people are coming through that terminal.
The Lehigh Valley Airport, which is the actual closest airport to me, but has very few direct flights anywhere, and usually they just put you on a bus to a better airport. Um, was like booking live entertainment for a while. I was
Oh,
like,
hell yeah.
oh, do I want to do airport based comedy? Should I
No,
reach out?
no.
I was flying out. I flew out of there. They put me on a bus to Newark Airport the last time I was there, and I saw that they had like shows coming up, and I was like, do I reach out? And it's like, I don't think this is prime comedy.
Oh, untrackable. I'm guessing he's saying that, or he or she is, or he said wife before, but I guess could still be a lady. Said,
Yeah, girls
I'm
can get married,
subbed.
dog.
Yeah. I love you all. I'm subbed with whips and chains. Oh, so you're a new listener and you're subbing? Leave a review on Apple or whatever you review or your
Thanks,
things, and
Untrackable.
we'll read it online. It took me a minute to understand. We are comedians, and it took me a minute to understand your joke when you wrote "I'm subbed with whips and chains." I was just like, "What?" And then I figured it out. Look,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
again.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
why I'm the Tommy, and you're the Dick. You're
Oh,
you're
see,
my
I'm
brother's
thinking of
keeper a
like the
little
real
bit.
life dynamic versus the on stage dynamic. I
Oh,
think
sorry.
is
Yes.
what threw me.
Look, do you just want to say that you are a better
I'm the
humorist?
comedic genius driving this forward. No,
That's
you're the
fine.
one who's like, again, not that you're like, I don't want to do comedy, but you have, and again, not that comedy is the only thing I
Unsure.
do in life, but you're like,
Yeah.
you have a whole other art based career with film stuff. And
Yeah.
you have said on the show,
That
you're
I
like,
enjoy more.
I like doing comedy. I think I like doing film more. And I'm like, no, I would actually much rather just do stand up forever.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I am now, because of the Pee Wee Herman doc, which we mentioned last episode, I am even more so now.
are you bringing a puppet next time? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not against it, but man, I'm telling you, like even perception of like the audience or what other comedians would think. Like I wouldn't I wouldn't be put on unless it was a night where it was more of a variety showcase where I wouldn't screw over someone on a lineup by testing something and being
Yeah.
experimental. Yeah, I would. I'm not against it because
Me either, bud. Get
I
weird with
just
it.
I feel I don't I feel stagnant, and that I feel like I'm not the funniest version or the most entertaining version of myself in the conventions of what I'm doing with stand up. So I think that's even like why trying the suits with trying the sideburns for a little bit. I'm like, I
I
don't
love the
know.
burns.
And it's not like I'm drag and I'm trying to be a character like Lou Collar. That's my new TikTok character if I record anymore with his Lou Collar comedy. But I'm not like, if that happened, so even the Pee Wee Herman doc, I'm just like, okay, so
I will have.
he,
I will make a point. I will have watched this by the next time we record.
you know this about Paul Rubens. This isn't anything about the
Well,
doc.
that's the
This
thing.
is
Is like
just,
I know all like
yeah,
the hard data that's in this thing. It's like, yeah, I know. I know.
yeah. He completely gave up his own personal identity for a golden calf. I mean, to
Yeah.
become Mickey Mouse, basically.
And I mean, to an extent, so did my other hero, Mr. T. Like,
Yeah.
he is all persona. And
So I can
that
imagine
idea
there
is
are
very interesting
hardships.
to me.
Well, and then someone with like Paul Rubens, I can imagine, I mean, with Mr. T as well, there being hardships with that and mentally struggles. But like, then I think about like Larry the Cable. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. I would never do that. And also, I just don't have a good enough idea to like lean into to even try that because of I like doing other things, other art forms. But then there's like Larry the Cable Guy where like he's bought in part and parcel of like he lives as Larry the Cable Guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, when he does a movie, he is Larry the Cable Guy as whatever character. Like he's Ernest, and
Yeah.
again, Jim Varney.
He's earnest, but he's earnest 24/7 though, where Jim Varney was like actually his bit was starting to break out with other acting roles by the time he died.
Yeah, Well, I mean, I think because by the time he died, he had stopped being Ernest, basically, like, or at least the popularity of Ernest had died down enough.
A straight-to-video movie every now and then.
He couldn't do Ernest Goes to Jail and then Hamlet and then Ernest Scared Stupid. You know, like there needs to be a break from Ernest before. And it was like largely Slinky Dog. Like he got to be a voice in Toy Story, and everyone's like,
Beverly Hills.
I remember Jim Varney.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, and it's another one where it's like, well, again, a fairly Ernest adjacent role. But that is why they're like, oh, you know who'd be great? Jed Clampett, fucking Ernest. Do you think we think we could get Ernest for this thing? And to his credit, Jim Varney's an incredible actor. Like, when I hosted a talk show for a while, we had a game called How's Jim Varney Feeling? Because he did a series of posters. I don't know if it was for this specifically, but I saw it in the context of in like language classrooms when I was subbing. My the one teacher had a poster of Jim Varney making different expressions and then what the feeling was in French underneath it. So I found those pictures and I would just show the picture and I would ask the guest to be like, how's Jim Varney feeling? And then they would answer, and then depending on if we wanted them to be right or not, that's
an autism assessment test too. I was still like, oh, he's happy. Like, oh, you are not reading this correctly.
So with Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal, which ended a couple weeks ago now, he basically goes through an autism assessment at one point, and they do a test where he had to look at just eyes, like cropped photos of people, just their eyes, and click how they were feeling. And I have, at that point when I saw that, I'm like, I'd done a lot of the online autism assessments. I didn't do that one, and I was like, well, let me seek that one out. Let me see. And I think I think they show you 36 pairs of eyes. Each one has 4 options. You pick how they're feeling. And I got 29 out of 36, which I thought pretty good, way better than I was expecting it to be. But then the last question was, how did you determine how the eyes were feeling? And then my answer immediately undercut my pretty good score because my answer was, oh, well, I took art and animation classes where I learned how to draw human expressions. And it's like, oh yeah, no, this is a learned skill. This is not.
Yeah.
This is not innate.
All right. Have you decided what Daddio theme?
Oh, that's right.
Here we go. To spend an old classic. We're reaching back to the.
Like I said, I'm in the shed again. If anybody's watching, you can see. I don't know if the mic. This is supposed to be a better mic than the mic that I was using, so I don't know if the echo is coming through. I'll listen to the episode.
It's a beautiful looking mic. It looks very.
It looks. I usually turn the light off, but I forgot to this time,
nice.
And then it's the one downside is like if I touch it, like it all comes through.
Oh yeah, it's very hot.
Yeah. But the test recordings and stuff I did with it all sounded pretty good. But it started raining quite heavily.
Welcome to Mike Talk.
That's why I looked up to see if it was
really like, talk about people
dripping or coming through. But all right, so I'm gonna wiggle the mouse. That's how we're gonna randomize this.
Oh, okay. You don't wanna be like, oh, what's that one? And then be like, oh.
Whoa,
I don't remember.
There's a couple of boys who look so fine, responsible, reliable, and I wanna make mine, using their joke powers to cloud men's minds. They're not the shadow, but they're Daddios. Daddios. Did it take 40 minutes into the episode to finally play this theme song to Daddios? Where do we go? After we're played? Into an abyss of theme songs thrown away. Used only once, like a condom, you know.
semi-recent.
Yeah. This is the one we were talking about the shadow, or after.
For these two daddios. Daddy-o. Did it take 40 minutes into the episode to finally play this
I just
theme
realized if
song?
I reply to a chat
Yeah. It comes
in
from all your different
Riverside,
handles.
everything that I'm connected to also chats. So
That's awesome.
that's a cool feature, Riverside. That's good. I mean, I want when other people. So we're doing this on Riverside. So somebody chats, I like Untrackable. I think is watching on YouTube. I don't know where Mike's watching from. Also YouTube, because it shows underneath. Like it should all show up here. I forget the other person's name or handle rather who watches on Twitch. She's been watching me when I do the Dr. Mario streams.
Oh.
She's another Dr. Mario player.
Oh, you gonna throw down? You gonna challenge her?
I was asking. I was like, "Are you gonna go? Are you going to Cincinnati?" She was unsure.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I've got the one show at the Comet coming up that weekend when I'm there for the Dr. Mario tournament
In November.
in November.
You're promoting your 6 month.
No, I just mean like if in Cincinnati, if anybody wants to set something up, you live nearby and I'll be in town.
Oh yeah,
playing Dr.
I will
Mario.
see you.
Also, hey, if anybody lives near New Hampshire, anybody who watches or listens to this show, I'm trying to set something up in New Hampshire July 17th or 19th. I'm going to be up there July 18th because Dartmouth is showing Buckaroo Banzai with W.D. Richter is going to be there, the director of the film. Also, writer of Big Trouble in Little China and The Thing. Did he write The Thing as well? I'm more interested in his Buckaroo Banzai based antics than the rest of his film work. And it's a thing where it's like, oh,
Would you yell at people in the audience if they started asking other questions about?
That's not what we're here. We're not here to talk about Big Trouble in Little China.
You go to that screening.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I got an inside tip from a fellow Buckaroo Banzai fan who found out about it before it got announced. He's like, just so you know, July 18th, they're going to be showing it, and Richter's supposed to be there. I was like, I'll put it on the calendar. I'm supposed to go to my friend's house to play poker. Sorry, Joy, I love you, but I'm skipping poker to go watch Buckaroo Banzai.
Hey, hopefully the guy who saw us at Parkway in McKees Rocks, who mentioned that was his favorite movie, hopefully he hears about that.
I told him.
Daddio now. Oh, you did?
Oh, I don't know if he listens to Daddio. I told him about the screening. A friend of mine.
You've done your Buckaroo Banzai work.
Yeah, a friend of mine who we'll probably have on. I don't know. I know their name, but it's they use the handle Cult Papa across various social media platforms. Just like one of those internet mutuals where it's like, oh yeah, I don't actually know this cat in real life. We just interact a lot online. I recommended him to Kev as well for Tyrant in Training. And I know they recorded an episode pretty recently. But I put up on Instagram the other day. I was like, oh, hey, New Hampshire. It's just a Apple map crop of New Hampshire. I was like, anyone in New Hampshire or honestly like an hour or two in any direction, if you wanted to do a show, July 17th or 19th. He replied, he's like, I got excited because like I'm in that. He didn't specify. He's like, I'm in that window.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you should come to Buckaroo Banzai. And he's like, it's a little far for me. It's like, dog, driving from New Jersey. But admittedly, right, like for me.
So you put your passion on his.
Yeah. It's like, well, right.
Like, look, if I can do it, we all can do it for Buckaroo Banzai. All right.
Well, I don't like it if I come to your town or state or whatever. And let's say Minnesota, right? Because I've had a couple friends who live in Minnesota or fans reach out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be in Minneapolis on this day. And they're like, oh, that's actually pretty far. I was like, I guarantee you I'm farther. Like I'm coming from farther away. Well, you don't want to drive 3 hours?
Again,
all right.
It's the superiority. Like I could lean into that and be that very much as well. But if it's you and me together, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna let you out superiority me.
I'm gonna let Glenn be the dickhead here. Well, no, but it's like I understand. I'm going for work, and you're just going to watch a show from a guy you know from the internet. I understand what is getting us to those places.
Hey! I don't know you. You just happen to be at a winery that I go to every now and then, and I saw a poster in the bathroom or a post on their Facebook page.
Like the reason I am going wherever I'm doing a show. I mean, the reason I'm going to Alaska this week is very different than the reason
to do a show
everyone else on there is going. Although when I started booking cruises and they're like sending me to like tropical places, it's like, oh, that's great. Would actually kind of like to go sail up to Alaska. That seems like I would genuinely enjoy it because I have friends who go on cruises a lot and they've always hyped them up and they're like, you would love it. I was like, I don't think we're close enough. For like, I don't think you know me is the problem. Like, if you look at a cruise and you think, man, crowded boat with a lot of loud activities, Glenn's gonna have a great time. But
no,
I would like, oh yeah, sail up at Alaska and look at icebergs and like cool views and stuff. I'm so excited for just the trip part of this in a way that I wasn't when I went to like Grand Cayman or whatever. I was like, oh, it's beautiful. It's going to be a nice trip. I'm excited to go to all the other places, but it's like, if I'm going to book a cruise purely for recreation, Alaska would probably be on the list, or like sail to Europe, or just do like a Danube River cruise.
Well, so that's I don't think you and I have ever talked about this. Talking about, I think a lot of, there's probably a classification for this, but I can't think of what it is. Certain Americans who have the European vacation dream. I mean, there's the Griswolds.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where it's influenced by.
The worst vacation movie?
There are, yes, hands down. It's weird. Did you and I talk about that recently, or did I talk about that?
No, but it was Blank Check.
It's the worst, but was shown on TV so much. But then I saw it on TV. I'm just like, oh, it's vacation movie. I'm like, oh, but it's different cast, Rusty, and But I was like, but it's Beverly D'Angelo, and there's no Randy Quaid.
The kids are different in all of them, right? Is that true?
Yeah.
I was never that's true. I was never a huge vacation fan.
I like the John Hughes-ness of it. The Christmas Vacation one, I'm not as jazzed about, but the first one, because I never connected with Chevy Chase. This is going off the complete. Beverly D'Angelo shows her Hooters and European Vacation, and so when you watch it on TV, you don't even get one of the best parts of the movies. Just to be gross, I mean, I grew up as a young horny, like if it was on VHS and that's how you saw boobs, that's how you saw boobs. I will still have that mind mentality. You and I've talked about that. When our wives get naked, you and I are both just like, ooh, yeah.
It's great every time.
Like it's still every time.
Every time.
And it's not like I'm not a weird pervert. It's just like I'm happy about it every time. Same kind of enthusiasm. Just like a high school boy.
I compared it to in the first X-Men movie, right, when Rogue is asking Wolverine about his claws, and she's like, does it hurt every time they come out? And he's like, every time. It's like, oh, is it cool when you see your wife get out of the shower or whatever, even though you guys have been together for so long? He's like, every time.
Every time. Would you have sex? Every time. Would you like do stuff? Every time. Like I don't care. Like I could have the flu. I could be in the worst pain ever. I'd be like, well, I should muster up some energy.
My legs are broken. I'm bleeding pretty severely, but all right, I got a couple minutes.
Every time. So I'll close my Chevy Chase tab, and then it's might not even a bigger conversation. Chevy Chase, since it's more about comedy, I'll make that the longer one. But the European Vacation, some Americans are just like, go to Europe? No, thank you. Whatever. They're usually racist, have some phobias, but some colonial mentality. But if I went over to Europe, I would not want to do, if like we were there for a week or say even like 2 weeks, I would not want to see all of Europe. No. I would want to go to like just a small part of Italy where I can maybe like go to Rome or somewhere like locationally and just kind of stay in one area and absorb all of that in.
Well, that's when I went to Budapest, where my plan was like, oh, like, obviously I would love to just go spend a month there, but that's not feasible. But like I could probably pull, I'll book some shows. That'll probably, fill out about a week. That'll give me time to like settle in, see some stuff. Took the train out to Veszprem for the day, and it was my parents asked if they could come, and I was like, "You guys are more than welcome to." And like, "Oh, well, that'd be great because then like if you're gonna go to Budapest, then like we can go do like a day or two in Germany, and we could go to like England." I was like, "No, no, no, I'm going to Budapest for a week. You guys are more than welcome to come.
Globetrot.
You guys do whatever you want. My plan is I'm going to Budapest for 1 week. You guys do whatever you want." And
It's
then
been 1 week since Budapest.
they decided not to because they're like, I don't know if we actually want to go to Central Europe in February. I was like, fair. My sister came with me. She left early and spent a night in Paris before flying home. And I'm like, I just want to do the one thing. I don't want to try to Chevy Chase it. I'm not going to fit all of Europe into a week. I just want to do the one thing for a couple of days and like relax and have a nice chill time.
What an applicable line.
I don't want to Chevy Chase
works
it.
for so many.
Yeah,
I don't want to Chevy Chase it.
That's true of my career. That is true
make
of
a T-shirt.
I don't relationship with people.
How I talk to people, how I look, how I'm perceived,
how I want the cast of Community to feel about me,
how I want all casts of SNL, like over 50 years, and they're like, who's the most hated cast member? And it's just like, fuck, buddy, 50 years worth of people, and like you are probably most people's number one.
Yeah,
who work there. Not of like watching the show. I mean, obviously, there are plenty of other people that have been taken out to the dumpster fire by critics and stuff. Will Ferrell, for one, his first couple years was considered like the most annoying cast member.
Yeah, I mean, I might have been in that mix.
In that camp.
I've never been a huge fan of Will Ferrell. But again, it's not like, oh, I hate this guy. It's like, I don't know, the character that he does in most stuff isn't appealing to me.
I think Will Ferrell genuinely has something that Chevy Chase is on the opposite side of, is that there is almost a soft earnestness, like genteelness in Will Ferrell's eyes where he like wants to do better.
Yeah.
Like every character wants to do better. And I think that is at the base of all of his characters in some way or another. Like even say like a Ron Burgundy, who's very braggadocio and very
I really bounced off of Anchorman hard in a way that like
I saw the first one or the first or the second.
I saw it in theaters and left early.
Same. Oh, of the first one?
Yeah. And then everyone's like, this is the funniest movie in decades. This is going to be a classic. I was like, did I go to the wrong one? Like, what are you talking about?
That's how I thought about Napoleon Dynamite and Zoolander. And I've rewatched Zoolander. I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it more now. But like when I first saw it, I was just like, this is atrocious. Napoleon
Part of
Dynamite,
it might be
I've
too,
never
because like
revisited.
I don't remember exactly what year Anchorman came out, but I was like
2005.
Yeah, so I'm full on college film student dickhead at that point. I'm sure that's part of it. But I've not rewatched it. I gave it another shot a couple years ago because everyone's like, or maybe around the second one. That was pretty quick, right? I know Zoolander 2 took forever to come out.
No, Anchorman 2 took
that was like a while. So I think I rewatched it.
Years, yeah.
Before that came out, and I was like, this is not doing it for me. And again, I think in 2005, I was like, this is terrible. These guys suck. This is stupid. But now, as like a much chiller adult, it's like, I don't know. It's not for me. It's fine. Hey, if you like Anchorman, that's great. I love that for you.
Being able to drive 2003 to then 2005, I was a freshman in high school. I did not like Talladega Nights when I first saw it. I was just like, oh no, thank you.
I don't think I ever watched the whole thing. But I've seen clips of it. It's like, some of this is really funny.
Again,
praying to specifically baby Jesus is such a funny bit.
8-pound baby Jesus. Like, I like to think like Jesus wearing like a little tuxedo shirt. Like that, all of that.
I did rewatch Step Brothers, and that kind of got me in a way I wasn't expecting. Because I don't think I even gave that one a chance. That's funny. By the time Step Brothers came out, I was so off wanting to watch Will Ferrell stuff. But I watched that like on TV or something a couple of years ago. I was like, I think John C. Reilly is what does it for me, honestly.
John C.
Reilly is hilarious.
the table scene. So Danny McBride, I mean, was picked up by Adam McKay and Will
Yes.
Ferrell for Foot Fist Way, and so they recognized in him. I think
A friend of
concurrently,
mine in college sent me like
yeah,
a burned. He was interning at SNL, and he sent me a burned copy of the Foot Fist Way, like before it was anywhere. And he's like, I genuinely think you would really like it. And like he worked on the movie I made in college. Like we took classes together. It's not like we were buds really. It's just
yeah.
like, oh, like a guy I knew from college. We worked on some stuff together. I have nothing but fond memories of you, Justin. But it's not like we were hanging out
But
outside
he
of
saw
class and
that and
films and
it
stuff.
clicked,
But he
and he
saw it,
was
he's
just
like, you
like,
know who would
"Oh,
love this
Glenn."
thing? Glenn Tickle. So he sent me a copy. He's like, you're correct. This is one. And then I sent it to my friend Dan, and I was like, oh, Justin just sent me this movie that like Will Ferrell's producing, and I think you will love it. And also, I think at that time my friend was teaching Taekwondo, and so you're gonna love this. And he's like, fuck yeah, you're right, I do. This is great. We still
So
quote that like a lot to each other.
So I think John
Chuck
C.
Norris
Riley
say that?
and Will Ferrell have borrowed that vibe of because Danny McBride and all of his things basically makes the lowest stake things with the highest stakes emotions.
I love
And
that bit. And
the
he is
Thor-
also another one. It's like he's kind of the same guy and everything.
Yes, but even Danny McBride at the base of it, like even like the Gemstones or Eastbound and Down, it's this guy. It's able to do neediness without, in my opinion, can be nails on a chalkboard for somebody else, but there is this base level emotion of just like I just want to make you happy. Like I want to make myself happy, and they're all selfish Danny McBride characters,
Yeah.
but like there is still this like base level gentility that wants to do good, where Will Ferrell and John C. Riley have made that like with that table scene in Talladega Nights is like Thornbird's level or Godfather level, big family dinner. It could be Mafia, but it's, Gemstones does it perfectly. Vice
Mhm.
Principals is beautiful in that way for teachers. So Will Ferrell, Danny McBride, they have that where they could even play assholes. But then there's Chevy Chase, who, to go back to the first Vacation,
Who just
the
is
reason
one.
who just is one. But in that Vacation, he's he's supposed to be at least 40, right?
I don't know.
Or like Craig T. Nelson Poltergeist age, like kind of in that realm of like you're like late 30s, early 40s, you're going through midlife crisis. And yes, there's a lot of male gaze and it's very male, but there's something about the darkness to the first Vacation movie that I think is throughout. And they lean into it in the Christmas Vacation when he doesn't get the bonus,
Mhm.
and it's the swimming pool thing, and he abducts Brian Doyle Murray.
Yeah.
And there's that whole scene. But I think Vacation actually has that more, where I think there's a more interesting, more indie, darker film that if like an Albert Brooks did it, he would have leaned into. But I think Chevy Chase is perfect in that for who he is and the internal conflicts that he has of wanting to come off funny, wanting to come off cool. Where like Will Ferrell and Danny McBride, they do that as well, but it's almost like they're mocking it and it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Where
They
Chevy
don't.
Chase is also a defense mechanism, but it's like, because you suck.
I think with
Like,
Danny
I don't.
McBride specifically, because I'm more familiar with his stuff than like Will Ferrell's.
Mhm.
Like Gemstones just wrapped a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
so that character like is so focused on everyone needs to think I'm the coolest guy, so I'm gonna drive a monster truck. I'm gonna dress like fucking the worst guy, and it's like it is such a performance, but you see it in Danny McBride. He's like, I know that this guy isn't really this guy. He is just trying.
Yes.
Like all the Danny McBride characters are
Puffing
trying to
his
exude
chest.
this like
Yes.
alpha male bullshit that he doesn't believe in, and it's just like they don't. You can see it like on Righteous Gemstones. Like he doesn't want to get caught that he's not this cool
No.
guy. Like anytime somebody
Yes.
on the show like kind of pokes through it, and like you can see like it really upsets him. And with Foot Fist Way, he's like, the only way this Taekwondo school succeeds is if children think I'm this complete badass.
I'm Johnny Lawrence. I mean, he is
So
Cobra
if
Kai
I-
before Cobra
yeah.
Kai exists.
It's like, so if I can't exude this insane level of like strength and power, children aren't going to sign up for my class. So like, I need to do this out of like this weird desperation. And that is why that character and movie is so like funny and beautiful to me. It is not, there's bad versions of that where it is just guys who think they are tough being tough. And Cobra Kai, your favorite TV show that makes you cry every day, is that a little bit too?
Sir, I've been crying so much.
And
you have no idea. Allie woke up at the end of the Pee Wee Herman himself as himself, and she's just like, "You've been crying." I was like, "You have no idea."
Yeah,
and then I explained to her.
I think I got to watch that on the boat where it's like I can be alone in a cabin for 2 days and process this.
What is your favorite?
Nothing else.
Like comfort dessert, or like, is it like a good cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or
For
like
dessert?
what is? I don't know, just like a comfort thing of like that you ingest, like, because you're not going to have like a glass of wine or cheese or something. Like, what is your comfort like snack? Whatever it is, you should have.
During the pandemic, it was Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I would say have something like that with you when you're watching the Pee Wee doc and feel like you're a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons, and just go through the roller coaster, but then have that thing at the end where you're just like, yeah, I do need to like snack on something or have something.
Like when we were in lockdown, it was for sure Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I would just sit there on the couch and eat it dry, one piece at a time, suck all the sugar off, chew it up, next piece, and just like zone out for a bit. I don't know that I have like,
you don't have that
a specific food that I think of in that way. Pizza. I love pizza.
Oh,
that is my
maybe have like a nice
I didn't look. I know I did look up to make sure there would be vegetarian options on the cruise, but I didn't look up pizza specifically. The last cruise that I did had a little pizza shop up by the pool. It was just like a window, and you just go up and tell the guy how many slices you wanted, and he would give you that many slices, and it was open all day, and it was the greatest experience.
But so to my point of with, so also it could be considered taboo with them involving religion and the Righteous Gemstones, with it being a humor-based show. But the one thing that I really also love about Danny McBride and him talking about this and acknowledging it is Jesse and the rest of his family, they believe. Like, they are believers. And part of his facade of wanting to be cool is to be considered the best believer.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally the plot of the last season was they have like the contest for like most Christ following man, I think was the title, right? But then you look at something like
Christ Man of the Year,
Steve Martin's Leap of Faith, where
I love
like straight con man. Like
con man, but love it.
Right. And it's like he is just doing this for the money of it. Whereas like the Gemstones is like, well, no, like at a base level, they believe what they are saying. They also realize we can say it in a way that's going to get us an insane amount of money, which sucks. And genuinely it took a while for me to give that show a chance because of that.
We're rewatching the first season, and I've pinpointed Baby Billy comes in episode 3, and he's such a muted Baby Billy in comparison. But it's great to see where it starts, and that they in their relationship with him and his relationship with them is the same. But it isn't until episode 3 where we stop having the Gideon and that other stunt guy who's extorting them for money.
Mm-hmm.
It's that is not the best part of season 1, and I think they figure out that the family is gold. Like the stories in the family.
I think Baby Billy, besides just genuinely being a hilarious character, and Walton Goggins is great, but I think he shows like this is what these people could be, right? Like he's the worst version of this.
They make him better, and he acknowledges that. And I didn't realize that even in the first episode, where he's kind of like coming in, like strutting his stuff and demands, and it's like, this is demanding of me and blah, blah, blah. My sister wouldn't want this.
Yeah.
Fucking John Goodman It's like I could sit and watch him and Walton Goggins being Baby Billy and like them talk. It's the same as when they ever do a meal scene in Gemstones and at the dinner table at the steakhouse or whatever. Holy shit, they did a meal scene and it was at Jesse's house in the first season. I was like, oh, they haven't figured out that all your meal scenes are gonna be at the steakhouse. Like they haven't figured that that's what they want to do as like a constant like go back to
Well, I
like a
mean,
set.
even part of that is just like the production of it.
Yeah.
Is like, oh yeah, if we just do all these scenes in this location,
It saves,
makes
yeah.
everyone's job easier. Where
We can
it's
have
like,
more bottled episodes where we just use sets we already have. But again, I love watching stuff like that and being like, oh man, you guys are brilliantly doing this. But to then go back to, again with Chevy Chase, and people would be like, well, you're either a Chevy Chase person or a Bill Murray person. And even if you throw in a Steve Martin, I think Steve Martin could have definitely done Gemstones. But I do think, and I'm not saying when you're doing anything religious based because you're pulling the wool over some eyes and you're delusional yourself, you're either a con man or you're so bought in that you're delusional. But I don't know. If you look at it through the comedy scope, I think Steve Martin is a bit of a con man because he is a magician.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about it in Born Standing Up of like how influential reading like books about magic performance influenced his comedy, and I think that's true to an extent. Of a joke is a magic trick essentially, where when I mentioned Career Day when I spoke at my kid's school.
Oh yeah.
I was talking about it, and
What did you do for a Career Day?
I just talked about how I got it. I did it first grade, fifth grade, and sixth grade. So the first grade talk was different. I showed them Apple Gravity.
Yeah, as you should. That's a great idea.
Because part of it was like, well, I can't really show these guys a clip. Not the one, I think it was one of the fifth grade classes. Like, can you tell us one of your jokes? Because I was using the street joke that I like. Why did the Scarecrow get a promotion? He was outstanding in his field, as like an example. I'm like, I will tell you a joke. I will explain to you why this joke works. And I'm like, it's okay if you don't like it. I didn't write it. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But here, this is why this joke works, because a big part of how I got involved in comedy was I would read Sunday comics. My mom would be like, what's so funny? And I would be like, oh, read, Foxtrot or whatever. And she's like, I don't get it. And then I would have to explain it. I'm like, so I have to figure out what's funny about this. I need to figure out a way to explain it to my mom in a way that she'll understand what's funny about it.
Very clinical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was using the Scarecrow joke as that.
And you didn't want to give the kids ammunition doing your last name bit because you're like, oh no, my kids go here.
That genuinely part of it.
Yes.
But the one girl's like, can you tell us one of your jokes? And I was like, I can. And I talked about how like I typically work clean. I'm like, there's, if you guys you can watch my dry bar set with your parents and it's not going to be like weird or uncomfortable or whatever. But I'm also not writing jokes.
But have them like,
and
subscribe and comment and share.
But I'm like, I don't write jokes for your age group. So it's not like, I talk about like when I was subbing.
I could,
and the high schoolers were like, tell us a joke. And I wouldn't do it. So they all assumed it was because my stuff was too dirty. And it's like, no, you won't get it. I'm like, I'm talking
funny. I would assume
I'm spending so much time talking about Mr. T. You guys don't know who that is.
That they're thinking, oh, he must not be funny. He can't put his money where his mouth is.
Well, so I told the girl ask, I was like, give me a minute to think of one that I think you will like.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I'm not going to just think of one. I will like, think of one
how our brains work
that is appropriate for this context. It is like 9:45 in the morning. I will think of one that I think, and I did the one about when I was getting the eye exam for my glasses. Yeah. And the joke is basically the doctor is like, you're older. So like when you're reading, do you go like this to see the words better? Do you have to like go like this with your arm? I was like, no, man, go like this. I do the reverse pinch. I make the words bigger on the screen. And like they got on board with that. And again, not like raucous laughs at 9:45 in the morning from 10-year-olds, but like it got a couple chuckles. It was like, but I used the Scarecrow one. It's like, if you guys don't laugh at this, you won't hurt my feelings. If you don't laugh at a joke that I wrote about myself and my life, oh yeah, that sucks. I don't like that. I like it when you guys laugh at them. But I showed I showed them Apple Gravity because since it was career day, I was trying to like explain that, you know, the basic part of my job is I travel around and I tell people jokes, but there's a lot more to it than that. And there's a lot of opportunities and things that have come up based off of my ability to do that.
Hey, children, there's a bunch of different careers if you decide to go into humor that you will not get paid for, like short film writing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I use it as an
Animation.
example because like I did the classes at UCB. That's when I wrote that
Yeah.
script. And I've done some sketch stuff. And then I was like, because of this, like this played in some festivals. I met people. I've gotten more comedy work because of Apple Gravity. It's also the thing that my
it's
kids think is
educational.
genuinely funny. I
It's
made the
funny,
point
yeah.
to, I didn't
Yeah.
tell the first graders this, but like the fifth and sixth graders is like, it's accurate too. Like,
Mhm.
not the premise of this. If anybody wants to watch it, it's called Apple Gravity. Just look up Apple Gravity Glenn Tickle on YouTube. You'll find it. It's a sketch where Isaac Newton is pitching the first draft of his theory of gravity, where he thinks it only applies to apples. And that is made up. That is a joke. But the rest of the sketch is accurate. Like he's talking to Robert Hooke, right? That is the guy you played, who was a contemporary, who was also developing a theory of gravity, but Newton got to it first and got all the credit. Samuel Pepys was the other character. That was Anthony Camphor. He was the president of the Royal Society at the time, so he would have been presiding over that meeting. The year was correct. The Gresham College was where they would have had that meeting. I was like, this is a lot more research went into this than I think people might realize. And honestly, more than I think a lot of comedians would have put into it.
It is the Hamilton of a retelling of Newton.
Yeah. Well, because to me, it's funny if he thinks it's just apples, but I want the rest of it to
Yes.
feel true, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to work in as many details as possible. But yeah, it was the first graders laughed harder than the older kids, but everybody it got good chuckles. For my younger daughter's class, they ate that shit up. They loved it.
I think you took white man indignation, powerful white man of indignation, like the idea of Columbus, which now has been rewatching Bear in the Big Blue House with my boys in the morning. One of the shadows, where is Shadow? Came on, and it was about Columbus Day. And it was like in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and like whatever, and he came to America. He's like, "Isn't this the West Indies?" And like, so they were already, and like back then, just being like, "Yeah, this guy's kind of dumb."
Yeah,
but so I think you took that idea, and you're like, "What if every white person of history was just a little questionable?" Because they probably were.
Yeah.
And then you were just like, Newton, last person you would be like, yeah, Newton created the theory of relativity.
Well, that's what
but
when I was
like,
talking
if
to
if we get into it deeper, like this is why it's funny.
That was Einstein, but
yeah.
I told the fifth grade class, I was like, I wrote a paper about Isaac Newton in fifth grade. And I think about it a lot because the one thing I found out when I was researching that paper was like the Apple thing was just made up. Like,
yeah,
I was trying to find, like, I don't know exactly what
it's hypocritical.
Like, yeah, it is just like, oh, it's Washington, the cherry trees. Like, well, it didn't happen. It's just somebody telling a cute story about this important guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, why, what, talk about what really happened. Like,
yeah.
But then it's like, so I didn't think of the sketch Apple Gravity when I was 10, but because I had to do all this research on Isaac Newton, I found out this thing that we all learn about him isn't actually true. And it's like, well, that's weird. And then it's like, so the thought that there's something funny about Isaac Newton and apples has been in there the whole time. And it's like, because so much of my job is I stand on stage and I tell jokes. A big part of it is, like you mentioned, I think on the last episode, we're like, our job is to take an idea and do it in its best version. Sometimes that is just a stand-up joke. Sometimes it is a weird cartoon. Sometimes it's a movie. And the movie I made in college, right? Like, I gave you the pitch last time. It's a writer who wants to kill himself, but he's writer's block on a suicide note. That could have just been a joke, right? Like, the fact that I stretched it into 90 minutes is arguably a bit much.
Well, I think anybody that says they're like, well, this isn't anything more. And it's like, well, maybe not yet, but there's something in me. Cause like there's some times where you, like you said, you put something aside. You did the research on the Apple on sorry, Isaac Newton.
Yeah.
But like you observed that. It was the same for me when I mentioned about the Noah's Ark. Like, and then going to the Creationist Museum, and it's like, well, they believe dinosaurs were on there too. And it's the same as the Barbie with the prosthetic leg.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw, like, obviously I have my thoughts and opinion of creationism anyway, I mean, you peel that back,
You
of just
love
religion.
it? Right, that's what you're saying on tour? You're saying you
Yeah.
love it?
That's why I think we should rebrand the tour to the Christian clean comedy, Glenn Tickle and Ricky Glore, all for Jesus, all for you.
Woof.
Welcome to it. But putting those thoughts aside, because I went to the Creationist Museum out of morbid curiosity, and I saw the dinosaurs going on the ark around all the other animals, and I was just like, huh, well, this is already a dumb thing that I guess people believe is real, and then you made it dumber. I was like, interesting. Well, I hope those are all herbivores. And telling that on stage isn't me. I mean, I guess, where do you fall on that? It's just like, well,
Dinosaurs?
is Ricky?
I think dinosaurs are rad.
No, but I'm saying like dinosaurs on the ark, like, well, Ricky's making fun of religion, and it's like he's calling us dumb. It's just like,
well, I
don't we
do
all
it
see
from stage? Is
right.
Basically the like.
It doesn't work on stage.
I think, and again, it's not like, oh, I don't want to like offend anybody. It's like I don't.
Because I was like, I've tried to play it more happy. I'm just like, yeah, seems absurd. Like when we say it out loud, don't we kind of
If
all
I had a
like? Isn't
if
that
I had
ridiculous?
a funny enough take on that or anything else, I would say it on stage. But I always use the example of like I feel like I'm being invited to dinner. Like if I go to a show, especially because so many corporate gigs are literally a dinner. It's like if you just asked me to come, not perform, I wouldn't show up and be like, "Hey, would you fucking idiots think dinosaurs went on a big boat? You stupid like that." But if I thought of a really funny joke about it, where it's like, I think we can all get on board with at least the joke part of this. I would do it. But that's not the kind of stuff that I.
That's how I end it. Excuse me. Is like, okay, add dinosaurs. It's like great. Add other things. Like let's put Pegasi. Like let's unicorns. Like Chewbacca's. Like let's make it.
There's a song.
Fun.
There's a song about unicorns. I don't remember who wrote it. I think it's a Shel Silverstein poem, maybe, that got turned into a song by an Irish guy.
And it's a sad thing of like the unicorn missed the boat.
The unicorns missed the boat, and that's why there's not unicorns.
Huh.
I might be way off on the Shel Silverstein.
But then when creationism and Noah's Ark, when they say that those two timelines overlapped and the Flintstones really happened, then it's like, well, what happened to the dinosaurs with the Ark? Is that how they got extinct? And they're like, no, because the bones are only a few hundred years old.
So I've been trying,
1,000 years old.
With my youngest, I've been trying to like explain that daddy's not religious in a way that like
organized religion
isn't dickish, where it's not like
superior.
Because my kids go to Catholic school, and
I can't do that. That's a line drawn for me. I have
complicated feelings about it, but the fact that they're like being introduced to religion isn't. I don't see that as a negative. You know,
you don't feel like that they're being indoctrinated.
I don't think so, but
okay.
But it's also like, well, part of it is like, well, I'm also going to be upfront with my children that this is not what daddy believes.
Sure, you will be another good sounding board. They will have steady in their lives if half of the day is going.
And I don't remember what specific Bible story my kid was talking about, but I'm like, well, that's more of a metaphor, right? Like that is a story to get you to understand an idea, not a literal thing. Because at least with Catholicism is not like a Bible literalist based religion, where it's not like
You would hope not, but it is.
No,
There
it
are
is
some that don't.
objectively not. There's,
but
I'm sure
they-
there's Catholics that literally
Yeah.
believe, but like the
Yeah.
Pope isn't like there.
Oh,
It's
don't even get people. People are. I mean,
new
they said
Pope. I
that
don't know. I don't know.
New Pope, yeah, old Pope,
but they've been like, well,
classic
no,
Pope.
like this is these stories are meant to teach lessons and help people lead better lives. We're not saying explicitly that like everything in this is true. Like they're not the ones saying that the world's 10,000 years old. And it's like, well, that's, I was trying to explain. It's like, that's more of a metaphor to like get you to understand this idea. I wish I could remember what one it was.
No, I mean, you could say, yes, they're parables. I mean, you could say The Boy Who Cried Wolf. You could say any of these things. Like, how you have these fables, and what's the lesson that's learned at the end of it in this parable? It's like, it's that.
And that's rad. You should learn these lessons. Like, that's important to know. It's
and then,
important.
like, well, how do you parse what is real and supposed to be taken as gospel?
Well, that's
and not. And it's just like, that's where it's.
That's the tricky bit. But that's true of anything.
That's the rub of
the beginning of Look Who's Talking Too, right? Where Mikey's falling asleep and he's like, so ninjas are real?
Shut the fuck up. Did you just evoke Look Who's Talking?
I did, and I'm going to continue.
So
if
I had
he's
a bingo card.
He's going to bed and he's trying to think. He's like, so monsters used to be real, but dinosaurs aren't real. Like he's a little kid and he's trying to figure out what is and is not real.
Out.
And
Falls
it's like,
under the chart. Yeah.
That's where my kid's at. She's like, so what, like Daddy talks about Godzilla a lot. I don't think Godzilla's a real thing, but I know Daddy also talks about dinosaurs and he says those were real.
But he also talks about Mr. T.
Yeah.
And Mr. T, while fictional, also real. So there's some lines blurred.
That's when we talk about Pee-wee. It's the same thing. She's like, so was he a real guy? I was like, kind of. And I'll have her watch the documentary with her.
Are you holding back demystifying Pee-wee as like a Santa? Do you feel more for Pee-wee than you do Santa Claus?
Personally, absolutely. But no, like my daughter knows Pee-wee is a character played by an actor.
Paul Rubens. Okay.
Yeah, she knows who the actor is.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know you mentioned you have a heart out, so you gotta.
Yeah, I do. I in 5 minutes, we'll do a final wrap up of positivity. Have any new ideas or any spontaneous things while doing shows came up that you're working on, or any like little nuggets of ideas?
No, I've been mostly having a weeks-long panic attack about having to fly on an airplane.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I bought some pants. I bought high-waisted pants that I feel great about. They're very comfortable.
King of the Hill meme posted.
Well, that's all. I was always worried about if I wore pants that the waist went up too high, it would look like when Bobby Hill pulls his shorts all the way up.
Why are you clutching?
What are you talking about? Like that's.
What are you talking
but
about?
I bought some pants. I feel good about the pants.
When Bobby gets the gout.
Oh, when he gets the gout.
So good. What a gentle little boy.
What about you? You got anything good you're working
on? I text you that one thing, but nothing ever came of it. Was I'm a great husband, a good friend, and an okay dad. And you were like, not me, my man. Mike Flinch said, great show, guys. Yeah. Thank you. Everybody's talking about my type pants. So I said, I'm a great husband, I'm a good friend, and I'm an okay dad. And you're like, you got to flip that, baby. Not for Glenn Tickle.
You just said great husband, good friend, okay dad. But you didn't say whether it was you were talking about you or me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I was like, for
me,
this
is a premise. Yes.
But I wasn't sure if like you were pitching me a premise or talking about one for you.
Oh no! As I mentioned to you, I would never pitch you a premise without asking, "Can I pitch you a premise?"
That's fine. You can.
Sorry. So
other people listening can't, but you can.
It was. I mean, it's not even a premise. It's just a set of words and feelings of how you are in said roles. But I was just like, I don't know. It felt like something where I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm a great husband, and I'm a good friend because I'm a good friend to my wife, but I'm more actively trying to be a great husband. And then I'm okay dad because my wife is still weirdly more of a priority than my children. Like I get oddly defensive when like my kids do something mean to my wife.
Yeah.
I'm just like I become a greaser.
Don't you talk
like,
about my wife that way?
Yeah, I just like step in front of us, just like, hey, are these people bothering you, honey? Like I don't know why, and so I think.
But when I said it was the opposite, I meant for me.
Yeah. But do you think there's anything there with that, or do you think there's always
I
something?
think so.
Everywhere?
I mean, I have the closest thing I have is I literally said line is like I think we all agree, pretty good comedian. I'm a great dad, world class Dr. Mario player. Where it's like I know that is the thing that I'm best
Did
at.
I steal that breakdown? Did
No.
I hear that last weekend?
No, I mean I think I did it on the drive-by. I don't think I did it on tour. I'm not saying it's so similar you stole. I'm just saying like that's the only time I've.
Well, let me rephrase.
I've grouped those three things.
It is a thought that I've had because I am someone who still do not feel like that I am 100% doing the live version entertaining comedy that I want to do. That I always want to make sure that I don't start.
Well,
aping,
I do say
like like Birbiglia doing like Hedberg voice, or
I do say when I do that line, I say pretty good comedian, right? But then there's another line when I do the Dan Huff thing. Where I started by saying like, so I got heckled a while ago, which I know you all find hard to believe because let's face it, I'm great at this. Because to me, it's funny if you're like a little
scamp,
you know.
Well, that's
when I went over.
I think that's the Steve Martin of it all.
When I went over to Budapest, they were not loving the American confidence. I had to like.
They correlate it with something else.
There's a couple things where I like
the
do a similar thing, and I'm like, oh, I gotta stop. They don't like it when I like a cult. That was like the biggest cultural thing. Is like they don't like it when I acknowledge that I think I'm good at my job.
Well, I have to get out of here. This is a cliffhanger for the week after next week. Once I'll have done these Chicago shows, you'll have done your Alaskan show. I want to hear about Glenn's Alaskan boat cruise. But a goal I'm setting for myself for these Chicago shows this weekend at Comedyplex is
fully
I'm
nude.
I'm going to be real loose. I'm going to go up with some pieces of ideas. I'm not going to do Amber Alert or Child Thievery. And I'm going to see. It's a little bit like throw a kid into a pool to see if they'll swim. Like, what are their natural reactions going to be? I'm going to put on a show. I'm going to make
that's
sure
that's what I was starting to do with the list at the beginning of the year. It's like, don't go up with a set list. Just, know what you think is funny. Just keep telling yourself you're good at this and then check in with the audience every once in a while. And,
do you think I should continue in the suit world?
Like wearing a suit?
Yeah.
I think for the Daddios shows, I think it's nice that we're both in suits.
Okay. But you think me as me.
Solo, like I'm wearing one for the cruise. But I'm blazer over t-shirt all day every day given my druthers.
Look, if I could be right now, I'd be in a suit. Like if I had the means that justified
I used to be, and it is comfort above all else.
I am no more comfortable than I am in my shorts and t-shirt or whatever, my road tripping outfit. But ORR, what does ORR mean?
I don't know.
ORR, just Mike Fletch just screaming ORR. We were wrapping things up, but I kind of want to know what ORR means. Did
Full
it come up?
windbreaker head to toe. Yeah. No, I mean like this. Okay. This blazer is like basically sweatshirt material. So like if I'm doing a theater show, right? Like the cruise is like I'm headlining the main theater on the boat. I'm not going to wear like my sweatshirt jacket. It's like it looks fine on camera. It's comfortable enough day to day.
You looked great at the pictures at the Emmaus. That one picture is one of my new favorite pictures of yours.
Yeah, well, that was the suit that I bought to match my friend for his wedding.
And you know what? Maybe we'll pop up. Maybe we'll clip out or we'll pop up for people to watch the two-hander stuff that we did.
Yeah, I keep meaning to get around to do that, but Sunday. I've been behind.
I mean, you also got
the cruise,
the vinyl, and I'm about ready to send you over a script to joke up as well.
Yeah.
So
send me that before Friday, and I might. I'll have a better chance.
You mean before tomorrow? Send it to you before tomorrow.
Before I leave for the cruise.
Or no, before Friday.
Read it on the plane.
Today's Wednesday. My days are all over the place.
But you have to leave and I have to pee.
Right.
So let's hit the stinger and get on out of here. Oh, it scrolled away, stupid thing.
ORR meant OR. He missed
It's
it.
the Daddios.